And a happy Canada Day long weekend of football fans from coast to coast. We're going to our nation's capital this evening for the Edmonton Eskimos and the Ottawa Renegades, which is game one of a Friday night doubleheader on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Hi, everybody. Dave Randorf with you. There's John Climby, and there is Chris Schultz. And it's been a pretty busy week in Ottawa, hasn't it? You had the federal election to kick off the week, and then they had the Canada Day celebrations yesterday. And now even the Ottawa Renegades are getting into this whole nationalistic thing by starting 13 Canadians tonight. That's unheard of, but they're just that deep in the hosers, eh? And everything's pretty good with the Renegades right now with a perfect 2-0 record. Not so good for the defending champs. The Edmonton Eskimos 0-2, and they don't want to even think about 0-3. No, certainly not, but they do want to be the first Western Division team to beat an Eastern Division team. And have you noticed that there's less running this year in the CFL? And I thought it was just a figment of my imagination. Went to the stats. Yes, it's down by about 13%, but not for these Renegades. These guys believe in a balanced attack, and they're one of the few teams that are doing it the way they're supposed to. With Josh Ronach and Kerry Joseph, who's with imaginative play calling, is getting the ball down the field and using his legs when he needs to. And I think this is what Edmonton has to worry about. Ottawa's one of the few teams you have to worry about the play action pass because you've got to worry about a great running attack led by Josh Ronach, Schultz.
Well, I think with Edmonton it's the exact opposite. It's not about the running attack, it's about pass protection, because 2 weeks ago, this Eskimo team played Montreal, and that defensive system by the Montreal Alouettes, it made Jason Moss look very, very average. Now tonight, the system that Ottawa runs is very similar to Montreal. It's all based on numbers and pass pressure. I think the retirement of Bruce Beaton and right guard Leo Groenwagen has left a little bit of a performance void in this football team right up front. Not necessarily physical, but mental, in terms of always having one guy on another guy, body on body, and using your mental ability to get everyone blocked at the point of attack. It's so important for Moss to start out well, to use that Montreal experience in this game against Ottawa.
And the good news is his BC experience, his last game, they got the ball rolling against the Lions just too little too late. You know, Edmonton has never lost against the Ottawa Renegades. As we introduce you to the starting quarterbacks, brought to you by Wendy's. There is Jason Moss and his numbers to date, and Kerry Joseph off to a great, perfect start so far.
Hey everybody, Rod Black with you in the nation's capital, where an Ottawa team has not gone 3-0 since 1972.
Hi everybody, I'm Leif Pedersen. On the other hand, the Edmonton Eskimos, well, they haven't been 0-3 since 1965. They want to get on the winning track tonight.
Kickoff coming up next from Frank Clair Stadium.
Okay, before we get going, here's the Rona How-To Poll question of the week. Log on to tsn.ca and tell us which West Division team will be the first to defeat an East Division team. You got Edmonton playing Ottawa tonight. Calgary plays Hamilton on Sunday.
And good evening, Canada. Canada Day long weekend. Oh yeah, Renegades fans getting ready.
They were getting ready yesterday.
They were. They've been getting ready all week.
I have never seen a crowd like there was downtown around Parliament Hill as there was on Canada Day here in Ottawa.
And they're all looking forward. Of course, Ottawa will be the site of the 2004 Grey Cup, and the way the Renegades are playing, hey, all bets are off if you had any preseason prognostications, because they could make it there. It's a marathon, of course. Welcome to Frank Clair Stadium. Beautiful night for football. Clear blue skies. Had some torrential downpours yesterday. It's certainly a much better night for the weather than it was last week for Wendy's Friday Night Football. Tom Higgins, the CFL Coach of the Year. The defending Grey Cup champions have not started like champions.
No, they haven't. You know, they've played two tough football teams. Montreal, with their blitzing defense, is never any fun to play against. They opened and lost to them, and in a shootout Commonwealth against the BC Lions last weekend, lost a close one too. But hey, this is a good football team. They are 0-2, very uncharacteristic of an Edmonton team, but they are a good football team, as is Joe Paopao.
Yeah, so far the coach for this year, 2-0, Joe Paopao, and going for his 7th straight home win. They have taken the word E, the expansion word, and taken that letter E and said, forget it. We're not talking expansion anymore. In Ottawa, we have a team that's destined, they hope, for the playoffs. And we have a false start here. Sandro Shortino kicking it off for the Ottawa Renegades, who will go right to left on your screen. The weather, again, is a factor. I suppose if you talk about the wind goes from left to right. It was a factor last week, but the breeze not nearly as bad as it was a week ago. Winston, October, Michael Bradley back to return the kick for the Edmonton Eskimos. And here is Shortino, the rookie kicker, who has gone 5 for 5. There's Winston October. He will handle the bulk of the Edmonton Eskimos return game here tonight. Special teams have been a factor for Ottawa in the first 2 games. They have been able to contain the Keith Stokes and also last week for Sean Livingston. But October takes it down the sidelines, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 45. And here comes Jason Moss after a near 500-yard passing game in a loss against BC. Here's the offense for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, and Mike Pringle only 42 yards rushing on the season. They'd like to not get behind early. That's happened in the first 2 ball games, so they can establish the run. And the offensive line, Glenn Carson, in his 4th year, but first year starting at the left tackle, and he has struggled. He needs some game experience to work on the blind side protecting for Jason Moss.
Behind Jason Moss is Mike Pringle, inching closer and closer to George Reed, but based on the first 2 games and the lack of success they've had, it's going to take him a lot longer than he thought to break George Reed's record. Here is the Ottawa Renegades defense.
And how about Jerome Haywood? 2 sacks, and 2 weeks in a row, the CFL Lineman of the Week. What a start he has had. It's a tough defense. The secondary, some changes. Jonathan Ordway gets the start tonight on the corner. He's played arena football. He came to Ottawa. He played arena football again. He could play 35 games in 1 calendar year. How about that?
Passing down now, 2nd and 8. Moss throws to Ed Hervey, cutting inside, first down and more for the Edmonton Eskimos. And what weaponry Jason Moss has. Of course, Ricky Ray was the quarterback that led them to the Grey Cup last year, but this is an all-star caliber receiving corps.
Well, Ottawa starting 3 Canadians in the secondary tonight. Donnie Ruiz, the youngster, out on the corner. Born in Montreal, played at Wilfrid Laurier, and what a great call by Jason Moss. You put the speedster Hervey on Ruiz. You know Ruiz is giving them lots of room, and that was a good call and a great way to attack.
Up the middle for Pringle, a couple of yards again for 36-year-old Mike Pringle, the 2-time most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League. We talk about the weaponry. Apparently there is word that they might be getting Milt Stegall, maybe Jermaine Copeland, Alan Pitts add that. I mean, they have a glut of receivers.
How about that? 190 touchdowns for this group, and they've got some other good young receivers in Scott Robinson and Ralph Brock as well to add into this mix. Winston October
or Brock Ralph.
Or Brock Ralph. I'll do that all night. But this is a great group.
Moss, wide opens Hervey. Bursting outside, gets a block. Hervey will go to the house if he stays in bounds. He doesn't. There is a flag on the far side of the field, however.
Looked like Ottawa jumped early. I think this play is going to stand. And again, an easy pass for Moss to complete underneath to Hervey. Good high percentage. And this whole Edmonton receiving corps, yards after the catch, so critical for them. Mookie Mitchell can do it, Terry Vaughn can do it, and so can Ed Hervey.
Ottawa, decline, first down.
It looked like Jerome Haywood jumped a little bit early, but again, coming underneath, they clear out, expecting zone on 2nd and long. They get zone, and Hervey, easy pass to complete, and he has world-class speed, and he shows it to you right there.
CFL All-Star and getting a block there.
Well, for a team that struggled early in both their 2 beginning games this year, this is a great start for Edmonton.
Yeah, they have to get off to a good start. It has been miserable for them. There's the shovel pass to Pringle. Down to the 4, hit hard there.
Boy, what a great play. It's a counter shovel pass, and they really isolate the defensive end, Prince. And here he comes. When he comes upfield, then they just shovel right underneath to Pringle. Watch this. Prinson's the guy. He's right out there. He can do nothing right. If he takes the quarterback, they throw the shovel. If he goes to Pringle, Moss will run. So Tim Princeton, he couldn't play it any better. There's just nothing you can do to stop that.
We could get a lot of shovel passes, shovel pitches here tonight. Not only does Edmonton do it, but so do the Ottawa Renegades with Josh Ronick, and just short is Mike Pringle.
Well, again, this is the kind of start that Tom Higgins wants. I mean, you know, you ask him, you know, what's your offensive philosophy? Well, simple. It's balance. I mean, everybody wants to be balanced, but obviously some teams are more throw than pass. His team wants to run the ball equally with passing, but so far in 2 games, they've only had 30 rushes and 77 passes. That's not the balance. But here in the first quarter with a great start, he's getting the kind of balance that this offense needs to function.
And a field goal simply probably wouldn't be good enough in his mind. They want to take this to the end zone. Second down and short yardage. And they have it. And so it would be first and goal for the Eskimos. They'll look to start with the touchdown after trailing 14-0 on 2 defensive touchdowns to the Montreal Alouettes, and then 22-3 to the BC Lions before rallying. Jason Moss making a great comeback, but a little bit short a week ago.
Well, on the other hand, Ottawa with a 2-0 start, they have yet to give up a touchdown on the ground. In fact, the defense has only given up 2 touchdowns in 2 games, both through the air. So, going to be a first.
Will he give to Pringle? Yes, he does. Well, he's done it so many times in his career, and Mike Pringle with another touchdown. The Eskimos soar out of the starting gate this week.
And Mike Pringle, you can't block everybody in goal line rushing, and he takes on Kelly Wiltshire right on the goal line here, absolutely runs over him. Wiltshire, a good play, but no match for the leverage that Mike Pringle has with that 5'9" frame and 200+ body, and his first touchdown of the season. And what a great start. That's what they needed. Make that his second touchdown of the year. Well, when you're on the road and you're struggling, you always hope to have a great start. They've had it.
Mission accomplished. 7-zip Eskimos, thanks to Ed Hervey and Mike Pringle.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Wendy's, it's better here. By Molson Canadian, I am Canadian. By Rona, the how-to people. And by Rogers, your world right now.
13 rushing touchdowns a year ago for Mike Pringle. That's his second of the season, 119th of his career. Jason Armstead bursting outside with room. This guy can fly, and he is brought down at the 42.
Well, the play that really made the difference in the opening scoring drive for the Edmonton Eskimos was an Ed Hervey reception, catch and run, easy ball to complete underneath the zone, and then the guy with world-class speed turns on the Jets. Mookie Mitchell with a great block downfield to help him out right on Ruiz right there, and that was the big play in their opening drive.
So Ottawa starts in about the same field position that Edmonton did, and will also try to answer here. Kerry Joseph inside to Josh Ronick, and he's stopped for a loss. The key to beating the Ottawa Renegades is stopping number 30. Let's take a look at the offense for the Ottawa Renegades.
And Josh Ronick has been Mr. Everything in the first couple of games. He leads the league in rushing. He leads the league in yards from scrimmage. He's been simply spectacular. The offensive line, boy, we're going to get to these guys. Every offensive lineman over 300 pounds, and the coaches tell us that Val St. Germain, the veteran, is really the glue in that group.
All Canadian line. Here are Joseph's numbers last week against Toronto. A rainy night here in Ottawa. Joseph under pressure, dances out of the pocket, throws upfield to Joel Murphy. First down, Ottawa. So Joel Murphy does what Ed Hervey did for Edmonton. Now let's take a look at the Edmonton Eskimo defense here tonight.
And a lot of pressure on the front four from Edmonton. Raheem Abdullah, a terrific defensive end, but they like to simply rush 4 people. Yeah, they'll blitz and bring more than that, but their base package is to rush 4, so they need to get pressure from that front 4. And Harold Nash gets the start on corner tonight. Both starting corners, Daryl Crutchfield, Malcolm Frank, not ready to play. Nash gets the start. He is not 100%.
Starting lineups brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast. Joseph launching down the sideline. And Ramon Adams could not run under it, just overthrown, and a flag on the far side of the field, and that might... It was either somebody jumping or Adams had some trouble off the line. Let's see. It will go against Ottawa. Our referee tonight is John Ireland. Umpire is Ross Saunders.
Pass interference. Ottawa number 2. Repeat first down.
Demetris Bendros, number 2 for the Renegades. So they will repeat first down here and bring it back to the Renegade side of the field.
So watch for that again. They got the matchup they wanted. We talked to Joe Papa yesterday. They will go quads either to the field or short side, and that means back to the weak side. They're going to try to use the speedy running back, isolate on a linebacker. They had him open. They wouldn't have counted, but the theory was correct.
Joseph throws again. Ronick out of the backfield. Down the sideline. Josh Ronick. First down and a lot more. The bowling ball with legs. Josh Ronick.
Well, Josh Ronick's averaging over 18 yards a catch this year on 7 receptions. This is his 8th, but again, a mature Kerry Joseph doesn't force it in downfield. They only rush 4, drop 8 deep, dump it off to your running back. He's got terrific moves. He got around Mobley, and that's a huge pickup to convert to a first down on first and long, rather.
27-yard pickup. You're right, Leif Pedersen. Josh Ronick. So the Renegades.
And here's that quads to the field again. Don't be surprised if they work back to the short side.
Answering back here. Joseph goes the other way. Dancing to the 20, to the 15. Kerry Joseph with another first down. Good fake inside to Ronick. Joseph took off left side.
Well, when you see that tonight, you people at home, and you see 4 receivers up to the top of the field up there, you kind of know that they're going to come back to the weak side. The little fake holds Abdullah, the defensive end, and then Kerry Joseph, who's got 4.4 speed, 230 pounds, is a terrific running back in his own right. That's a great play, and it's set up by the formation.
Ronick in the backfield again. There's the direct snap. They did this last week against Toronto, and will do it a couple of times during the game, and it works. Josh Ronick, CFL's Offensive Player of the Week, for good reason.
Well, he's something else. You know, he's a small guy. You could put him in your glove compartment of your car, but he can bench press over 400 pounds. He squats
well, maybe in your car.
540 pounds. I mean, his center of gravity, much like Mike Pringle, is so low, and he's so strong. He's just a tough guy to find, number 1, and tough guy to bring down.
Watch that direct snap tonight, too. Papa will throw that at you. Joseph rolling right to the end zone. Open is Woodcock. Touchdown. Ottawa's own Pat Woodcock. I'll tell you what, they used every bit of the end zone. His first touchdown as a Renegade. Welcome home. Pat Woodcock played in Montreal, part of the Alouettes arsenal there. With Anthony Calvillo said he wanted to come to his hometown, especially when they started to grow a little bit, the Renegades. And no good is the convert by the rookie Shortino. Woodcock the touchdown. It's 7-6 Eskimos.
Roxanne Marshall of Edmonton, you could win a 50-inch Prima Plasma TV if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in tonight's game. Thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion, and if a second kickoff is returned, you could win $1 million.
It is 7-6. Rookie kicker Sandro Shortino's only blemish of this CFL season. 2 games in, a missed convert. October has room outside. Renegades trying to bring him down. They will at the 39-yard line. What a start for both teams. Pat Woodcock had no one beside him for about 5 yards in the end zone, and then Joseph found him with a toss right near the back of the end zone.
Rod, you wonder why Ottawa is a much better team this year. Well, they answer an opening drive by a score by Edmonton with one of their own, and what a terrific catch. Watch how Woodcock bobbles the ball initially, tucks it in, and then has the presence of mind to get not one, but both feet down. He only needs one, but he got both down in the reaction of his quarter. But that was a great throw. Only Woodcock had a chance to make the play, and he did.
Well, based on the first 10 minutes or so, we're going to have an offensive explosion here tonight. They are coming out firing, Jason Moss and Kerry Joseph.
You know, it's interesting when you look at these teams and you look at Ottawa in particular with a 2-0 start. Joe Paopao said yesterday, hey, there's 3 reasons why we're better. Number one, we're able to defend the lead better. They didn't do that very well last year. Timely plays, and we're more consistent. Well, I'd say that was a pretty timely series to answer right back.
Absolutely. The toss to Yo Murphy, then Josh Ronick piling up some yards, finally converted by Woodcock. Moss throws over the middle. Terry Vaughn with another first down for Edmonton. Terry Vaughn, he's just Mr. Automatic when it comes to 1,000-yard receiving seasons.
Well, and Gary Echeverry, who's the defensive coordinator for Ottawa, he's an aggressive coach. I mean, he likes to bring a lot of people, a lot of different looks, and so far with his secondary tonight, he's been pretty passive. I mean, they have stayed back in the zone, and Edmonton has had no trouble finding the holes in it.
9 straight 1,000-yard pass receiving seasons, and he's 2 yards away, Terry Vaughn is, from the 11,000-yard mark for receiving. Pringle's brought down only a couple of yards, but there was a flag in the backfield. Might be a holding call. We'll see. This looks like it might go against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, Mike Pringle, hard to believe that this is his 13th year in the CFL. I mean, it just seems like yesterday he was playing for Baltimore and in Montreal and all that, but 8 times out of those
Edmonton number
12 years
67.
so far, he's been over
Repeat
1,000 yards. In fact, his best year was 1998 when he had over 2,000 with 2,065. I mean, you talk about a guy that gets stronger as the game goes along. It's Mike Pringle, and there's where he stands all time.
Getting closer to another number 34, George Reed. Began the day 790 yards back. He moves closer. That was a penalty, by the way, against the Eskimos. Dan Comiskey called for holding, and there is an injured Renegade on the field.
You know, and this is a problem area for the Renegades. I believe their middle linebacker, Tony White, number 36, is the injured player. But they are a little thin at linebacker. I mean, their backup is Jason Kralt, a bit of an undersized linebacker, and he'll have to come in the middle. But that's one area where I think they're thin.
So we'll step aside and come back. 1-point lead for the Eskimos. 7-6 Eskimos. There's today's George Reed. Let's join Michael Whalen on the Eskimo sideline.
Well, as you guys pointed out, he's only 790 beginning the game, Mike Pringle is, of George Reed, but things have not gone well for him in the early part of the season. Only 42 yards, and that's because Edmonton is falling behind early, and they're just not letting him touch the ball. But that's eating Mike up. You know it. He wants to touch the ball tonight, and I'm sure if he does, Edmonton's going to be right in the thick of it.
Well, right on cue, spinning is Pringle on the pitch from Moss. And that's true, Leif Pettersson. You know, you can talk about running games, but if you are down early, very difficult to run back into a game, particularly when you face a large deficit.
Yeah, I mean, your game plan is totally out the window, and this is a much better start for Edmonton. This is the character of this offense.
So we have Michael Whalen covering the Eskimos tonight. Terry Marcotte with us. Watching the Ottawa Renegades sideline. We'll get to him later. Moss in the shotgun. 2nd and long. And the catch made over midfield. And there's your guy, Brock Ralph.
I'm going to have trouble because if everyone remembers Dieter Brock, the terrific Hall of Fame quarterback with Winnipeg and Hamilton, when he first came into the league, he was Ralph Brock.
Well, he was also Dieter, just that.
I know, but he called himself Ralph when he first came to the Canadian Football League, and then his dad wanted him to change it to his real name, Dieter. And now we've got Brock Ralph, and for me, it's confusing.
Good name.
It's a great name, but it's
he didn't call you Pettersson Leaf, did he? Here's Jason Armstead now. Working hard to bring it up to the 23-yard line. Renegades start there. 3:30 to go, first quarter. Eskimos lead by 1. In the air, catch made, and a beauty by Yo Murphy. What a throw by Kerry Joseph. Welcome back to Frank Clair Stadium. There is a flag on the far side of the field, and it might be brought back. Let's see.
Well, let's take a look anyway. Regardless, play action freezes everybody. A stop and go to Yo Murphy. Watch him stretch out here. My, oh
Illegal
my.
contact
In behind
on a
Fabian
receiver.
Burke, the corner. Watch the stop. Burke bites right here. Boom, he stops. His feet stop moving. Now you're dead in the water. They're just lucky Murphy didn't score. What a throw.
The penalty is against the Eskimos. The play stands 51 yards. And Yo Murphy has been the big play guy with Kerry Joseph in the first 2 games. Couple of touchdowns in third quarters against Toronto and Winnipeg that helped seal the victories. Yo Murphy, did he lay out there? Joseph. Oh, and around the corner comes Ronick. And Ronick has more room to the 20, another first down. What a play. Great fake by Joseph, and he had Ronick going the other way.
Watch Mike Maurer right out here. When Ronick comes back this way, he gets the seal block right here. The big fullback does it all. Watch this. Now the handoff. Boom! The big block there right on Rashad Genty, and that sealed the inside. Ronick to the outside. What great execution.
And did Kerry Joseph ever sell that?
Well, he's having a good first quarter. He's having a good year, period. But how about Mike Maurer? We don't talk a lot about him, but that was a terrific block.
2.5 to go, first quarter. Maurer up the middle. Movement on the line, it looked like, and a flag on the play. 2.5 minutes to go, first quarter. 7-6 Eskimos and the Renegades in the Eskimos red zone again. There's Yo Murphy. Llewellyn Murphy said that he might be thinking about calling it quits after this year. And I think Ottawa fans might say, no, Yo.
Don't go.
Don't go, Yo. He did go on this play in Winnipeg. That broke it open in the third quarter, and then against Toronto, Joseph again just heaving one, and Yo Murphy spent some time in the NFL with St. Louis, Tampa, Minnesota. 1994, he was with the BC Lions and Eric Tillman there.
He played in the World League over in Europe.
And so it'll be first down and 5 yards to go. Penalty against Edmonton. Moved on the line. Fake to Ronick. Joseph, lots of time again. Murphy, oh, in and out of his hands. And Yo Murphy would like that one back. Says, my bad, my bad.
Darrell Ray, number 83, was absolutely wide open in the end zone. Kerry Joseph just couldn't see him. Here's Darrell Ray. You're not going to see him come across, but trying for Yo Murphy on the outside. They clear out for him, bring him inside. Good move right here. Throw just a little down where Murphy should have had it. I mean, that's an easier catch than the one he laid out for.
Working on Fabian Burke. Again, the secondary, a question mark for the Edmonton Eskimos before this game. 2nd and 5. Joseph will take off with it. Some daylight, slides into second base at the 5-yard line, and he has a first down. This guy is a phenomenal athlete, Kerry Joseph.
You know what? The formation creates this opportunity for Joseph because he's got 3 receivers here, 2 receivers here. That's nobody left in this middle. This is just the perfect formation to open everything up for a quarterback draw. He gets a good block on the right side from Chris Burns. Boy, that's easy. But you know what? What Ottawa is doing so well this year and in this first quarter is using formations to get the defensive alignment they want to work against, and they're doing it perfectly.
Kerry Joseph made his debut as a quarterback in the CFL last July, almost at this time against Winnipeg, in a victory. And everybody said, hey, this young player coming in, young star. Well, a common misconception is that Kerry Joseph is young. He's a 30-year-old who has been around. He played free safety for the Seattle Seahawks.
He's 31.
And he's got a tremendous arm, and he is probably one of the most dedicated, hard-working players in the league.
He's a great punter.
Great punter.
You know what he is, period, Rod. He's a good athlete, and you can teach a good athlete stuff because he picks it up quickly. And you know, on that last quarterback draw, I want to just mention too that the young rookie Avi Khan from Simon Fraser, who was the Canadian University Lineman of the Year last year, he's in at right guard right now. He's a huge man at 6'4", 305. He also got a great block to spring Joseph loose.
Joseph looks like he's throwing again. Shovel pass to Murphy. Usually that play moves with Josh Ronick. But Rob Grant right there to stuff the play and also getting help from Singor Mobley. Here's Robert Grant from Hawaii.
Well, Robert Grant made a terrific play. He's an undersized linebacker. He's right there. But what he's going to do when Joseph starts moving to his right, he's eyeballing Ronick. He knows this is the shovel. There it is. And what great technique to get himself squared up in the hole and make the play at a tough guy to bring down.
The guy who went from defensive back to linebacker, had an outstanding rookie year. Final minute, first quarter. 2nd and 5. Joseph way back to the 20-yard line and knocked down by Raheem Abdullah. And here comes Sortino out to kick a field goal.
And that's a good defensive stand by Edmonton, because that was a pretty easy drive that Joseph had put together once again and looked like they were going in for an easy score. But that knockdown pass, you know, you won't see that in the statistics in the paper tomorrow, but that's a huge play.
So now Sortino, who is 5 for 5. Actually, we have 2 kickers into this game who are perfect this season.
You know, if you pull back just a little bit, he's got bigger arms than most of the linemen, this guy.
He's native of Markham, Ontario, just outside of Toronto. Went to Boston College. This kick will come from the right hash with...
And you know what they're doing? They may want to take a delay penalty here to give him a better angle. This is awfully tight from the 10-yard line. You take a delay, move it back 5, and it's a better angle for the kicker, and it's an easier to protect too.
Sortino's done a nice job. Keep in mind that Lawrence Tynes, the only CFL All-Star that the Renegades have had last season, the only guy who made All-Canadian, is now with the Kansas City Chiefs. He had an 80% success rate, and there was a question mark in training camp about who's going to be that guy. Well, they found a Canadian kicker in Sortino, and so far, so
Time
good.
count violation. Ottawa number 28. Edmonton has declined the yardage.
And that's good coaching, too, because Tom Higgins knew exactly what Joe Paopao wanted to do right there. He wanted to give Sortino a better angle, and Higgins said, you're going to kick it from there. And usually here you put guards over left, so you have an extra blocker to the left side, and sometimes you're vulnerable back on the short side to blocking this kick.
So from a tight angle and from the 12, Sortino, no matter.
It's all academic.
So now the Renegades lead 9-7. Let's go to the Renegades sideline. Here's Terry Marcotte. Terry.
Thanks, guys. Josh Ronick, 5'8". His good friend Jerome Haywood, also 5'8". Ronick says you can just imagine how many doors have been shut. They look at his size and they say, not big enough. So these guys decided they had to do something to take on the big guys. Every morning, they're out here 6 o'clock running sprints, lifting weights, running the field, looking for the edge on the big guys, and looks like they found it so far this year.
Yeah, they are both CFL Players of the Week. Ronick offensively, and Jerome Haywood 2 times now the Lineman of the Week in the CFL in back-to-back weeks. What a story, Jerome Haywood. So a field goal by Sortino, now 6 for 6 this season. Renegades lead by 2.
Well, when Edmonton gets the ball back here, there's only 17 seconds to go in this first quarter, but I think they've had a good first quarter. Their biggest challenge has been penalties. I mean, they've hurt themselves offensively with first and 20 situations that you can't recover from. This is a team that wants to run the ball first, throw second, even though they got great receivers. They got to cut out those penalties.
October goes right side to the 30. And someone loses their helmet down there, but October hangs on to the football. Jason Moss, a week ago, almost 500 yards in passing in a loss. And there's an injured Eskimo on the field. And as they attend to the injury, we'll take a break with 11 seconds left in the first quarter. Linebacker and special teams player Alonzo Jarrett from Toledo on the field. Jason Moss overlooking. Jason Moss had to play comeback last week. Jason Moss, I guess, in a couple of comebacks. Remember, he was a starter a couple of years ago, Leif Pedersen, and then Ricky Ray took over. Well, look at the numbers he threw up last week. Only done twice before over 500 yards.
That's tough to throw 497 and lose.
Look at those couple of weeks for Warren Moon in 1983, but Jason Moss in a losing effort.
Well, he only threw 29 passes all last season. It was a write-off for him. So, you know what? He's he's like anybody else. He's starting all over again, and it's going to take him a few games. I thought it was a terrific individual effort last week in the loss against BC. But again, you know, he's got to come back, start the confidence chain all over again. And, you know, his best year was 2001 when he had 3,600 yards. That was only in 12 games that year. But, I mean, the players have confidence in him. You can tell that Tom Higgins, his head coach, does. And I think he's a good quarterback, and he's going to get more comfortable as this season goes on. And that's what he's probably telling Keaton Cromartie there. He's just chill out, man. I'm going to be there. You watch for me.
Facing a lot of adversity, of course, in an 0-2 start, Jason Moss and Ricky Ray now with the New York Jets. So Moss, the starter again. We'll come back to Ottawa in just a moment. Tom Higgins, a look of concern anytime one of your players is down, especially after being down for such a long time. That is Alonzo Jarrett, and they are looking at it very carefully.
Right there. And he gets twisted right there, and then he gets fallen on from behind. And, you know, obviously you can't speculate to the problem. There he is, Jarrett, right there. And watch, he gets pinned, and then somebody falls on him from behind. And again, it's, you know, most times that looks so harmless, and yet these things are devastating.
Played last year, 13 games with Edmonton, born in Kingston, Jamaica. Played his high school sports in Toronto, a highly regarded track athlete, captain of his basketball team. He made the Dean's List at Toledo when he majored in communications, and there are some of the other numbers. Second year with the Eskimos for Alonzo Jarrett, and they're going to have to bring the card out for him, although it looks like he is up with some help, but that is never good. We wish him well, Alonzo Jarrett of the Edmonton Eskimos. Urging his teammates on.
Well, Ottawa's had some injury challenges here in the first half as well, and they've had to make some switches. Dave Donaldson, who's played inside halfback to start the game, has now moved out to the corner for Donnie Ruiz. I'm not sure if that's injury related. I do know that their starting middle linebacker, Tony White, is out with an injury, and to compensate for that, they brought in number 91 Clinton Wayne to play the defensive line, and actually 56 Keaton Cromartie, who started at defensive end, is really shifting to a linebacker spot. You'll see him up in the line of scrimmage, but pretty near every play he's come back, and good to see that White has come back in.
So final play, first quarter. Moss overthrows Daryl Mitchell, and that's the end of the first quarter. Renegades lead 9-7. You're watching Wendy's Friday Night Football from Ottawa.
At the quarter, brought to you by Reebok, the only brand that hangs in every CFL locker.
Well, the Ottawa Renegades grab a 2-point lead. They got the full bag of tricks out tonight. They're never boring. Ottawa is never boring, but a good start by Edmonton as well. Great start.
You know, great start both teams, but I knew Kerry Joseph would play well in this football game. Jason Moss, I wasn't so sure because of the defensive style the Renegades use, similar to Montreal. But look at the pressure right there by Wilshire, right in his line of vision. Good completion to Hervey. Another situation. Now the opposite side, the backside, he's going to take a shot on that play. Once again, great completion to Hervey. You can tell that through studying film and understanding the importance of calmness, Jason Moss is playing pretty good there, Jock.
Yeah, and he's dealing with the pressure, and that's what it's all about. Here you see how Ed Hervey gets so much space. Now, the DBs make a mistake. First of all, Ordway needs to attack right now. And Donaldson, he's chasing Vaughn instead of redirecting and trying to intercept Hervey as it comes across. They have got to get this solved that they don't want to get Ed Hervey this kind of running room. And you can see so far that the DBs on both sides of the field have been struggling. And they're not getting the kind of consistency that they need in order to get some stops. And we'll see if they tighten up here in the second quarter, David.
I can't believe neither of you gave Mookie a little credit there for that second block he threw in that. He blew somebody up there.
We did that to you, David. Pick up the stragglers.
All right, I pick up the scraps. This is game one, remember, of our doubleheader tonight. Second quarter is coming up from Ottawa right after this.
Welcome back to Frank Clair Stadium. Second quarter. Just a few seconds from getting underway. Here's the first quarter numbers.
Well, good numbers for both teams. They moved the ball well. Penalties the only tough part for Edmonton, but a couple of scores for Ottawa. Good opening drive for Edmonton. I thought it was a pretty well played first quarter.
Even Steven in possession. Almost in the ball game too. Moss. Time unloads for Mookie Mitchell. Makes the catch. Down to the 39, the former Argo. Daryl Mitchell. What a get by Mitchell, and what a get for the Eskimos picking up Mookie.
And the key to this was protection, because this play took an awfully long time to develop. Look at the time there, about 6 steamboats, and see Kelly Wiltshire, he gambled underneath Mookie Wilson, and Moss threw it up over the top. A great catch by Mitchell, but oh my, what protection did Jason Moss have there?
We've had some big plays here so far tonight. We're only in the second quarter. That one for 34 yards. Pringle. Couple of jitterbug steps up to the 35-yard line. Let's go now down to Michael Whalen. Michael.
Yeah, it looks like Alonzo Jarrett has got a right knee injury, and he's unlikely to return. But you know what was impressive is as they took him off on the cart, the number of Ottawa players that came over to try to give him some encouragement.
2nd and 6 now. Jarrett out of the ball game. Moss throwing. Bad snap there. Had to bobble it. Pringle out of the backfield. And easy first down yardage here for Mike Pringle.
Wow, what really happened, the inside receivers did some crossing routes. They picked off the linebackers, and I'm not sure if this was a design or not, but when they crashed into linebackers, that left nobody out to pick up Pringle. That's not a lot of fun to try to take him on in the open field when he's got a full head of steam. Now, before I get cards and letters, I call Mookie Mitchell, Mookie Wilson. I do that once a year, so that's my once for this year.
As long as Bill Buckner's not in the game. Ed Hervey. And he's brought down by Jonathan Ordway. Ordway, boy, a busy guy. Played arena football, plays in the CFL, back in the lineup, and a good tackle here on Ed Hervey.
Yeah, this is tough. Hervey, a world-class sprinter, tough guy to bring down, but Ordway does a terrific job. And, you know, in the beginning, I said he could play probably 35 games in this calendar year. That is a lot of running for a corner, but he says he's in great shape. He welcomes the challenge. Good for you.
Ordway comes up to meet with number 81 again. Hervey on the near side of the field. 2nd and 4. Moss a fake to Pringle. Moss is in trouble, and he's brought down by Roger Dunbar. Tim Fleiser from the left side. Dunbrack as well. Good pressure. The first sack of Jason Moss here tonight.
Well, again, the Ottawa's defense takes its turn at tightening up when Edmonton's in the red zone, and Tim Fleiser, number 34, stays at home from his defensive end spot. He doesn't get the sack, but he should get half of it as Roger Dunbrack gets it. But the Ottawa defense tightens down and forces Edmonton to try for a field goal.
This one will come from the 26. Another Fleming into the game. Longtime reliable kicker, Sean Fleming. 2 of 2 this season. Moss the hold. This one is wide, however. His first miss of the year goes through the end zone. And it's a 9-8 ball game here. Last night they had fireworks over the hill and Parliament Buildings in Ottawa. Some fireworks on the golf course on Monday and Tuesday on TSN. It's the TELUS Skins game presented by Ericsson. Great field. Masters champion Phil Mickelson.
Wow.
VJ Singh. Can I tell you more?
Yes,
Hank Keeney.
I know.
John Daly.
Bye.
On TSN.
It's going to be like the long drive championship.
Armstead on a throw into the flat by Joseph, picking up 8 yards.
So you will be there with Jim Nelford.
Oh, we'll be having the ball.
Another busy week.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And then
Sounds like a tough one to me.
That sets up the LPGA event, of course, in Niagara Falls next weekend. So it's that time of year, golf season.
Can you imagine Daly, VJ, Phil Mickelson, and Hank Keeney, who can all pound it 330 with no problem at all?
It's going to be fun. There's the direct snap again, but a flag, and there was movement on the line. And again, we talked about it early. They did this. They showed that to Toronto last week a lot with Josh Ronick. 3 or 4 times. Second time he gets the direct snap here tonight, but this one will come back. It's offside
Procedure.
Against
Ottawa number
Ottawa.
67. Still second down.
Mike Abrameshrik. There's Connie Kawhi, the offensive coordinator for Joe Paopao.
But Joe calls the plays.
Right now, not looking very happy. 9-8 lead Renegades in the second quarter. 2nd and 7. Look out. Joseph brought down, first sack of the night for the Eskimos. And it was the free safety, Stephen Marsh, rookie free safety.
Yeah, good change up by the Edmonton defense. Greg Marshall, the defensive coordinator. Normally they like to rush 4 on 2nd and long situations. They drop A.J. Gass, who'd lined up as a lineman, out. They blitz the middle safety, Stephen Marsh, in. And that is a good change up on defense, and it pays dividends as they get the sack.
So that brings out Sean Fleming to boot it away, and almost had it blocked. October, nowhere to go, brought down at his 53. 9-8 Ottawa. 10.5 minutes to go before halftime. Ottawa is the Grey Cup city this year, of course, and the next home game for the Ottawa Renegades Friday, July 16th against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who will come in here with revenge on their minds. The Blue Bombers off to an 0-2 start too. You can pick up tickets on Ticketmaster.ca or that number you saw on the screen. 1-point lead for Ottawa. Game started with an offensive explosion. We thought we might be up near the 20s by now. Moss backpedals over the middle and dropping the ball, which doesn't happen very often, is the normally sure-handed Terry Vaughn.
Well, and essentially that's a good area to attack, because Ottawa, again, playing without middle linebacker Tony White. They're going with 5 defensive linemen. One of them dropped out that last time. John Turntine, a defensive end. He tried to drop in the middle, but he didn't get there. He didn't even get close, and there was all kinds of room for Vaughn had he been able to catch it. But interesting defense right now with 5 defensive linemen in. Quite a change for Ottawa.
Vaughn still 2 yards shy of the 11,000-yard mark. Outside catch made by Brock Ralph. So that will be another Edmonton first down as they move the sticks.
Boy, the philosophies between both defenses are so different. Edmonton's all 4 defensive backs on the inside come up and jam, but on the outside, look at the room here with Ottawa. All night they've been giving the wide receivers all kinds of room. I mean, this is too easy in my opinion. Now I know that Dave Donaldson's on the corner, and maybe you go after him a little bit, but my oh my, that's just a little bit too easy. Edmonton plays tight, Ottawa plays soft.
I've not heard from Jason Tucker here yet tonight. Pringle has had a couple of touches, and again fighting for another first down. Usually we have this amount of time left in the first half, and Jason Tucker has hauled in a couple of passes. Not so tonight. He hasn't even had a look.
Well, he'll get his share. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they've got a lot of guys to try to keep happy in that receiving core, and you know, you can see it. They wanted to establish Pringle in the first half. They've been able to do that with him on the ground and with some pass receiving, but Tucker will get his share.
Tucker is wide right. Moss goes left, and the catch is made, and a beauty by Ed Hervey. Brought down by Jonathan Ordway.
And again, Edmonton, give them credit. They know Tony White, the middle linebacker, is out. They've got Keaton Cromartie, who's a defensive end, and he's trying to get back into the middle, but he's a lineman. He's not a linebacker. Jason Moss knows this. He just doesn't get there in time. Look at it right there, and they're able to complete the pass. But I think Edmonton's seen this, and they're trying to take advantage of that middle.
Pringle in the backfield again. 1st and 10, gets the call. And he plows forward for a couple. You mentioned the name Keaton Cromartie. He is a big force on that Renegades defensive line, and we want to send our condolences to Keaton and his family. He is playing with a very heavy heart. His mother passed away last week. Charlene Cromartie, the age of 56. And Keaton found out after the ball game, the win against the Toronto Argonauts. And even Joe Pavo said he's obviously had bigger things on his mind than football this week. But back on the line this week. 2nd and 9. Moss. And he's brought down again. Dunbrack and Kai Ellis, newcomer, former Stampeder. Kai Ellis brought over in that big trade with the Stampeders, the 9-player deal, and Joe Paopao loves 93 Black.
Yeah, 98, Roger Dunbrack right there. Can he push the pocket or what? This is a guy that comes hard every single play, working on Kevin Lesrud, the right guard. He beats him to the outside, and as Moss tries to step back up, he gets the sack. He's 2nd of the game. Boy, this guy works hard, and what an addition he's been since he's come to the Ottawa Renegades.
36-yard line now for Fleming. Missed from closer in earlier tonight. This one up and wide again to the left. Make that to the right and in the end zone. Armstead takes the knee. All tied. Fleming has missed 2 here tonight. Kind of a weird one in the 2nd quarter. Couple of missed field goals now for the Edmonton Eskimos. It is 9 points apiece here on Friday Night Football, and it has been home sweet home for Joe Paopao and the Renegades. Their last home loss against these Eskimos last July, trying to make it 7 in a row, trying to make it 3 wins in a row to start the season. It's been quite some time in Ottawa for that too. Joseph, time to the sidelines. Maurer ducks a tackle. So he has about half the first down yardage, maybe a little more.
Well, you know what I find interesting about this Ottawa team, their balance in 2 games, you know, 102 plays offensively. Now, that's not including tonight, but 52 rushes, 50 passes. I mean, you can't have it any more balanced than that. In fact, they're the only team in the league that has more rushes than passes going into this 3rd week of the season.
Especially when so many teams, it appears, not using the running game. Ben Ross hauls that in from Joseph. And that, depending on the spot.
I don't think he got there.
No, he did not get there.
Donnie
a yard
Brady,
shy.
Donnie Brady with a terrific open field tackle. And the crowd wants him to go. I don't know.
A yard, maybe a little less than a yard.
Well, you know, Joe Paopao said yesterday, he said, look, we figure we're a 1st and 2nd and 9 team because we'll always gamble on that final yard. But when you're in your own territory, I don't think you can here.
So Pat Fleming comes back out. And Paopao deciding not to gamble. With 5:53 to go before halftime. There's Winston October. A guy who is a threat to break it as well. October's back at his 25. Not a good kick by Fleming. And it comes back. Now he has a chance for it. There's Fleming on the ground, but he was blocked away. And there will be a flag, but I'll tell you what.
Scott Robinson did a terrific job. Number 86, there he is right there. He made sure Fleming couldn't get the ball.
We'll be back in a moment to Ottawa. No yards against the Renegades. Eskimos begin at their 51, so good field position. Moss. And Terry Vaughn has now eclipsed the 11,000-yard mark in the CFL. No problem that time hauling in the pass from Jason Moss. A future Hall of Famer in Terry Vaughn. He's only missed 4 games in 9 years in the CFL. And look at the yards.
In 9 years, he's been over 1,000 yards every single season. You talk about production.
Hervey. And Ordway right on top of him, nowhere to go. Terry Vaughn has become quite a member in that community in Edmonton, too. Has his own sports bar there. Of course, he played with the rival Calgary Stampeders when he first broke into the league for 4 seasons, 5 with the Eskimos. And, of course, a Grey Cup champion a year ago. The Eskimos have been to the Grey Cup the last 2 years. Both times against Montreal, 1 win, 1 loss. A lot of people would have thought that Montreal and Edmonton are sure bets again, but hasn't been that kind of start. It has been for Montreal. Flag in the backfield. Moss is knocked down. It might be roughing the passer. Ralph made the catch.
Well, Kyrese Hebert, number 33, the outside linebacker, came on the blitz, and he went right up to the head area of Jason Moss, and they're going to call this every time. Rookie.
Major foul.
And he made a rookie mistake.
Roughing the passer. Ottawa number 33. First down.
And this will move the ball a long way down, Leaf.
He comes untouched from the outside. Jason Moss has good view. He sees him all the way, but man, oh man, you can't do that.
Hebert from Louisiana replacing Seneca Taylor, who's hurt this week in the linebacking core. Here it is in regular speed. Oh, goodness. You can't have that happen. And so now the ball is at the 23. Moss takes off himself, puts his head down this time, and picks up another first down. And guess who made the tackle? Kyrese Hebert.
So Edmonton putting together a nice drive here after a poor punt by Pat Fleming. Great field position, and all of a sudden a roughing penalty. Jason Moss has them knocking at the door once again in a tie ball game.
Moss will go to the sideline and talk with head coach Tom Higgins.
Well, the last time they were down here, they stalled. Ottawa came up big on defense. And so, you know what? Sometimes, you know, everybody says, well, let's save timeouts. You know what? I think this is a great move. There's Danny Machocha, the offensive coordinator. And, you know, they can really decide out of all the things that they've worked on this week, when they get into the red zone and they have a narrowed down package, just make sure we call the right plays here. We don't want to make a mistake. We're on the road. We're 0-2. We need to maximize all our opportunities tonight, and this is a great one.
And I know there's some pressure in Edmonton, but can you imagine if they go 0-3? There's our affiliate, CTV affiliate in Ottawa. The reminder on CTV, the Casino, Monday, 9 Eastern, 10 Mountain on CTV. Moss to Pringle. Head down, butting heads in the middle. Again, Hebert making the tackle. Gerald Vaughn also in on the play. Mike Pringle churning out more yards, moving closer to George Reed. And that will be a theme all year long for Pringle and the Eskimos.
Yeah, I'd say around September you're going to get excited about that one.
Guy you used to play with in Saskatchewan.
Oh, he was the best.
2nd and 4. Moss over the middle. Catch made and brought down at the 3-yard line is Mathieu Bertrand. Mathieu Bertrand, if you follow Canadian University football, played for the Laval University Rouge et Or last year. He was their quarterback.
I remember. I did his semifinal game. He's a big guy. 6'3", 240.
Wow. Timeout on the field. Our three Kings at the half. Randorf, Schultz, and Climby, joined by a fourth, Ed Fillion. Montreal Alouettes, who are in Toronto, play the Argos tomorrow. Ed will be joining them in studio. Sean Fleming, 0 for 2, missing from the 26 and the 36. This is a chip shot from the 10, and this one right through. So the Eskimos now retake the lead, 12-9.
And again, if you're Ottawa, you know, you're happy to only give up 3 points. Edmonton's been in the red zone tonight 4 times and only has 12 points to show for it. So I think if you're Ottawa's defense, if you're Gary Echeverry, you're kind of happy about that.
Well, it's been a busy night for the MASH unit on both benches. Let's go to Terry Marcotte with the Renegades.
All right, the Renegades running into some injury problems on defense. Middle linebacker Tony White back playing now, but he's playing with an awfully painful hip pointer. And cornerback Donnie Ruiz gone for the game. He banged his knee early on. He's done.
That's not good news. 2.5 to go here. Catch made by Woodcock. He had his first touchdown as a Renegade back in the first quarter. Joseph goes to him as the Renegades try to either get 3 or hopefully 7 for their supporters before halftime.
Pretty easy pass and catch. The key is he keeps working back towards the quarterback on that angle, keeps that separation.
They go to the ground, but nowhere to go. Steve Charbonneau is there. So is Rashad Genty. And that will bring out the kicking team. So the Eskimos, in fact, will get another shot at the scoreboard here with 2 minutes to go.
And the Ottawa Renegades, who've been rushing the heck out of the football this year, really having a tough time here in the first half. They're over 143 yards a game, and really, that's a first down you expect to pick up. They didn't even get close.
They've also come close. The Eskimos have, to Pat Fleming in his previous punts here. See if they set up a return here. And they want to also, they're talking about the fake on the sidelines. Tom Higgins concerned about it. Fleming down to October, and there's a no yards call. Winston October, though, is off to the races. Adams might catch him, and pushed out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Ramon Adams finally caught up to Winston October. He found a seam and took off 69 yards.
You and I talked before the game, and you were saying what a great job special teams had done for Ottawa this year. The average punt return was like 3.2 yards a return, and all of a sudden tonight, Winston October has shredded them on kickoff returns and on punt returns. An enormous one right here. Only a great effort by Ramon Adams keeps it from going the distance.
Yeah, the first 2 games, they kept Keith Stokes and Bashar Livingston at bay. They cannot contain October so far tonight. First and goal from the 5. Pringle. He stopped at about the 1.5-yard line. A minute 52 to go. The Eskimos looking poised here to take a bigger lead into the locker room at halftime.
Well, all the great kick returners, all they need is one little seam, and then they all seem to have that extra gear, and Winston October is no different from Bashar Livingston. And the best that once he sees that little opening, he is shot like a cannon through there.
Pringle might get the call here again. And does, and he's stuffed. And a fumble. Gerald Vaughn has it. And what a stand by the Renegades. No flags on the play. Pringle felt he was down. Tony White was in on, Keaton Cromartie was in on the play. And Gerald Vaughn picked up the ball. The Renegades get it back.
Well, Tony White makes the initial contact. Pringle fighting for extra yards. And Keaton Cromartie with White. White strips it loose. Cromartie with the tackle. Gerald Vaughn with the pickup. And what a huge turn of events. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff on one play.
That took 3 guys. Cromartie the stuff. And then it was White with the strip.
That's what we need.
And Vaughn with the pickup.
That's what we need. We're going to the casino after this.
First turnover of the ball game.
That's the way to play, baby. That's just the way.
An injury on the field. Will step aside and come back. A minute 30 to go in the first half. And there's Keaton Cromartie, responsible for the stop of Pringle at the 1-yard line. And then Tony White coming in, and then Gerald Vaughn. Bad news on the field for the Renegades, though, and still on the field is number 99, Jerome Haywood. 2-time in 2 weeks that he has been CFL Lineman of the Week. That was obviously away from the play as Vaughn was going upfield, but he is up on his own steam. But in some pain. We'll get an update from Terry Marcotte on Jerome Haywood.
Well, there's a minute and 31 to go in the half. Ottawa down by 3 points. It'll be interesting if they can grind away maybe 1 first down, if they'll move into the hurry-up offense, or they'll be just content deep in their own territory to just let this clock run out.
Well, Haywood's on the field, still walking away. Another 10-15 yards to go. Officials will wait till he's off the field before the play begins. Everybody's lined up. Jerome's just taking his time. Joseph with Maurer and Ronick in the backfield and in the shotgun. From his 8. Fake to Ronick. Going deep for Murphy. Look out. He's got it. Actually, that's Armstead. Jason Armstead. Look at the speed on this guy. For a second, it looked like that was Yo Murphy. That's Jason Armstead. What a play. We talked about his speed before the ball game.
He is legitimate 4.2 speed in the 40, and here he's lined up on Fabian Burke on the outside. Very rare. Edmonton starts the Canadian corner. So did Ottawa tonight, but Burke beat to the outside, could not locate the football. That is a terrific catch, and you can see the speed that this young man has.
Armstead has a couple of tattoos, Leif Pettersson, on each calf. On one calf it says speed, on the other it says kills. They killed the Eskimos right there. There he is. Joseph, loads of time here. Still ducks a couple of tackles. Joseph still on his feet, and he'll scamper. Will he make it? Down to the 1.
What an effort. What an effort. You know, we talked, Rod, about athletic ability and why he is so coachable, because he has the intangible skills to be a terrific quarterback. He's got mobility, he's got size, he's got strength, and he's got speed. Look at the speed here to run away from Randy Spencer, and he gets them down near the goal line. But, I mean, that is just a terrific individual effort. His receivers were trying to get open, but he couldn't find anybody. It's read for him is 1-2, and then you.
And movement on the line. And now some chirping. A.J. Gass. And Kerry Joseph will not back down from anybody. Saw that last week.
Well, it's interesting. In talking to Joe Powell about how he has matured, I said, you know, what do you want Kerry Joseph to do when he's looking to one side of the field or the other? He says it's simple. You go to your first receiver,
Offside.
you go to your second receiver.
Edmonton number 77.
And after that,
first down.
It's you. So it's 1-2 and you, and that means you run.
So it will be first and goal from the 1. Great first half for Joseph. Give to Ronick. And he is stuffed. And Gass right in the middle of it. And Ronick and Gass. And there's Chris Burns. Still all talking it up. 26 seconds to go in the first half.
A.J. Gass is fired up. Watch the penetration he gets. Your middle linebacker has to be the guy down on the goal line. You can't really block him. And he comes through and absolutely stuffs the play. What a huge play for Edmonton's defense. It really forces Ottawa to pass now.
$20 seconds to go in the half. Joseph, here comes the house. Joseph, he decides to throw it. Touchdown, Ottawa. Demetris Bendros. Kerry Joseph had an alley. There was no one there. He could have run it himself. Decides to throw, and the Renegades take the lead.
And again, really an improvised play by Kerry Joseph, because he had all his receivers on the outside coming in to run a bit of a rub play for Josh Ronick. He had Ronick open initially, decided not to throw, could have run, but Bendros was just as good a choice.
Shortino with the point after. Boy, we've had it all in this first half. Big plays on both sides. Talk about a big play, that turnover on the goal line that precipitated this.
Well, initially they're trying to get Josh Ronick out in the flat right there, and it's just not there. Now Bendros works himself open, wide open, in fact. And again, Fabian Burke, rather. There was a Patrick Burke that was a corner, but Fabian Burke nowhere to be found there, and Bendros with the easy catch.
What's hilarious is that Joseph could have walked that into the end zone.
Oh, he'd rather throw for a touchdown than run for one. I would, wouldn't you? Looks better in the numbers.
Bendra says, I'm glad he did.
Sure, that's his first touchdown of the year. Both these teams have such great speed in their receiving corps. I mean, you look at Jason Armstead, Yo Murphy, Bendra, all great sprinters. You got Hervey, Vaughn, Tucker, all great sprinters for Edmonton. I mean, we got some talent out there tonight, folks. Well, it was the big play to Jason Armstead. It was 83 yards. That set it up. Bendra capped it off.
I'm following you everywhere you go. I'm a mimic.
Not bad. 6 plays, 102 yards.
Well, Armstead, again, the 83-yard catch. He has been rather silent in the first 2 games for the Ottawa Renegades. Armstead returning the ball and
there he is.
Came into camp and won the job. I'll tell you what, he's looked good here so far tonight. 12 seconds to go for the Eskimos. Gianti with the return.
Yeah, and if I'm Jason Moss here with 12 seconds to go, I'm at my 46-yard line. I mean, I try to get one for about 20 yards here, maybe 25 yards down, and I like the middle in this situation because Ottawa has been vulnerable there. And then maybe he gets a chance at a Sean Fleming field goal. But the way Ottawa's linebacking core has been banged up, I really would try to attack the middle about 20 yards downfield.
Moss in the shotgun. Over the middle, Pringle out of the backfield. Gerald Vaughn was there. 5 seconds to go. Jason Armstead, before tonight, just to finish that story, had only 1 catch in 2 games. He now has 3, and one of those was for 83 yards.
Well, they're going to have a lot of fun with him because he's got great speed, and he's going to work in as the 5th receiver and sometimes maybe 6th receiver because they've got 6 pretty good ones on this team. But, you know, they'll bring him along nicely, and he's got some great skills.
Prevent defense here for the Renegades. Don't want anybody behind them. That one thrown to the sidelines on the final play of the first half. Big plays on both sides. Armstead, a huge play. Fumble recovery by Ottawa leads to a 16-12 lead after 2 quarters. This is Wendy's Friday Night Football on TSN.
Wow, things have kind of settled in there, but some fireworks from Ottawa, and we're going to have some fireworks in the studio during the halftime show. Ed Filion of the Montreal Alouettes has joined us here to talk some football with Schultze and Jock. We'll be right back to do that right after this.
At the Half, brought to you by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Wendy's, it's better here.
75, de l'Université Ed Filion.
Come on.
Ce sera le jeu. Pas si jamais il est capable. Non, il est rabattu. Oh, c'est Filion qui est venu rabattre Harry Jones.
From our friends at RDS, what did he say there, Ed?
He said, I look good.
Ed Filion is with us in town in Toronto to take on the Argonauts tomorrow night. His 6th season with Montreal, but you actually, we're sitting here, just like fans, we are marveling at Kerry Joseph out there, going from his own 8 all the way into the end zone like that. You're a former teammate of Joseph's.
Yeah, I played with him in Germany in '98, the spring of '98. We went over to Germany, and he was our strong safety. And we ended up winning the championship that year. And I mean, he was a big hitter, and he ended up going on playing for Seattle for 3 years, starting there as their strong safety. Sat out a year of football, came back, and they said they'd give him a shot at quarterback, and you can see what he can do.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, we're seeing it tonight. And I want to just talk about this game a little bit. And we see that the Renegades use a style defensively similar to what you use in Montreal, in that they like to line up one more guy than you can block and then rush the quarterback. Playing in that defensive system, what's the toughest thing in terms of an offense and what they do to you and what a quarterback can do to you in that system?
Well, you know, you see I think the gradual trend as the season goes on. You know, initially the first year we caught them by surprise, I think, with our defense. And then quarterbacks now will try to roll out, spin out a little bit, buy some time with the scramble, half roll, sometimes come with a jumbo set, 2 tight ends to try to buy some more time for the quarterback, because we have a philosophy there. If we can get there by 1.5 seconds, you know, he should be hit. And if it takes any longer, usually they can make a play on our DBs.
Who is the toughest quarterback that you've played against in terms of guys just being able to take a hit?
Yeah, we just saw Jason Moss taking a big hit there.
Well, that's the question you have to ask yourself. Do you want to take those hits? You know, last week we had 18 hits. We had a bet with our coach. If we got 20, he would take us out for dinner. So, you know, do you want to stand in there for 4 quarters and take that punishment? I think Ricky Ray was probably the best example. He never said a word. He would get up and throw the ball and throw it on target. And I think Kerry Joseph is cut from the same cloth. And he's got that ability to buy some time and still be able to look downfield.
Hey, Ed, let me talk about that defense, not so much in systems, but personalities. You lost one of the more unusual people in the CFL, in Adriano Belli. I say that politely. Who has taken his role? Like, who are the loud guys? Who are the quiet guys? Who have the more quirky personalities?
Well, I want to say hi to Adriano because we talked today, and I told him I'd say hi on TV. So if you're out there,
blow him a kiss.
Yeah.
No, don't.
No, please get him excited. I guess you know, with our defense, you know, during the week, week in and week out, KJ is our big guy during practice. He provides us with the inspiration. You know, he makes sure we're all sharp, gets us going every week in practice. On the field itself, Tim Strickland, he's been here 2 years, 3 years now, and he's our ringleader out there, and he's the guy that calls the plays. He's in the middle of the action all the time. He's a headsy, smart ball player, and he's got a lot of athletic ability, and he's the guy that gets us set, reads the formations, and makes our calls based on those formations.
Well, Sanchez has helped a lot at corner.
Yeah, with the addition of, you know, Kelly and Davis, and the best part about that is they spent 2 or 3 years, I think, in Calgary, or 1 or 2 years in Calgary together, playing off each other. Right. So they come knowing each other. And Davis, you know, I had him when he was a raw rookie in his second year, and I mean, he's got the attitude and he's got the ability to play, and that's something we needed in our secondary. Yeah.
Well, I know you've got Ottawa next. We're sitting here watching the Renegades. You've got Ottawa next week on Friday Night Football, so you'll be a little busy. So we appreciate you taking time out to enjoy us. A little time with us tonight. Ed Filion of the Montreal Alouettes, and hang in there. Maybe you can answer this question for us. It's the Rona how-to poll question of the night. They logged on to tsn.ca and said which West Division team will be the first to defeat an East Division team. Hasn't happened a lot, obviously, Ed. And everybody says Edmonton is obviously going to get it done tonight. We'll see.
This day in the CFL, brought to you by Sport Check, proud supporter of the CFL.
July 2nd, 1998, season opener between Edmonton and BC will start in the second half with Edmonton leading 10-4. David Archer hands the ball to Calvin Williams, who scores, and it's 17-4 Eskimos late. Fourth quarter, just over 4 minutes to go. Damon Allen to Al Shipman, who dives into the end zone.
This day in the CFL, brought to you by Sport Check, proud supporter of the CFL.
July 2nd, 1998, season opener between Edmonton and BC will start in the second half with Edmonton leading 10-4. David Archer hands the ball to Calvin Williams, who scores, and it's 17-4 Eskimos late. Fourth quarter, just over 4 minutes to go. Damon Allen to Al Shipman, who dives into the end zone. They got the point after, but it would not be enough as the Eskimos hang on to win 20-12. Little programming notes. Monday, our coverage of the TELUS Skins game begins. 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Vijay Singh, John Daly, Hank Keeney, and Phil Mickelson are in the four-man field there. Now, you know, Filion's still here. He's hanging in with us, and so Schultze, Jock, you take a breather here.
All right.
Filion's going to give us his analysis of the halftime numbers brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian. Go, Ed.
You would think the time of possession would be a factor in this game, but if you can't put the ball in the end zone when you get a chance, it doesn't really mean much. I think the turnover and the time it came was a big thing. After a huge return, they come back and score the other way. I think the turnover is the turning point of that first half.
How about the rookie on the numbers? Terry Marcotte spoke with Joe Paopao.
Joe, your defense has come up big when it counts.
Well, you got to give them credit. They're moving the ball with some effectiveness, but we've made some stops and given us some field goals, so that's been our signature. So hopefully we can keep it up and play strong the second half.
Has that been the game plan, big play?
Well, you know what? You never know until you go play, and we seem to be having some timely plays when we make them. So, you know, they're a good team, and we just got to stay strong and continue to play hard.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
The opening touchdown for Ottawa in this game came at the back of the end zone, hauled in by one of Ed's old teammates, Pat Woodcock, 16-12 at the half.
Friday Night Football rules!
Well, quite a first half. The Ottawa Renegades scoring in the final minute to take a 16-12 lead. Here's Michael Whalen with head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos, Tom Higgins.
Tom, at least you're not down by a whole lot this time around.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, you know, it was nice first half. Not as many points as you normally get in the CFL, so the second half could be an explosion. You sure never know. But we'll be ready to play the next 30 minutes, no question.
Are you concerned about the number of times that you got into the red zone, but you didn't come away with a whole lot of points?
No question. That's uncharacteristic of not getting those shorter field goals, but that's going to happen at times. And you know what? You just got to reload. The second half is a brand new football game for us.
All right, Tom, thanks for stopping by. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. There's Joe Paupow, his team ahead by 4, as Ed Fillion, our analyst at halftime back in studio, pointed out. Time of possession, even though it favors the Eskimos, doesn't play into the scoreboard here because of that huge turnover and the quarterbacks putting up great numbers in that first half.
I mean, they have been both magnificent. Look at the percentages for both Jason Moss and Kerry Joseph. Kerry Joseph with the upper hand with a couple of touchdown passes tonight. One to Pat Woodcock, one to Demetrius Bendros, but terrific numbers by both quarterbacks, and I think this sets up for a pretty damn good 30 minutes coming up.
And maybe some early warning signals from the special teams as well. Winston October breaking one almost the distance, and Jason Armstead, though he's been rather benign on returns so far this year, showing some of that speed, maybe gaining some confidence himself. Armstead is back with Ramon Adams as the Eskimos will kick this off to begin the third quarter. October comes out to work on the special teams defensively. So,
and good news to see Jerome Haywood, number 99, out on the kickoff return team. You'll remember in the last few minutes he was injured and took a long time to get out, but he is back in to start this half.
Here's Armstead. Reverses field, finds a seam. Goes outside. I don't know if they can catch him, but there's a flag on the field. Armstead will take it into the house. No problem. Touchdown, but it might come back. It might come back.
Yeah, I would think it's coming back. That's Dave Easley. You saw him there. The special teams coach is furious.
Clip on the play, it looked like.
But what speed by Jason Armstead. I mean, he's laughing.
He's not even breathing hard.
No.
Ottawa number 93, first down.
Holding against Ottawa.
I believe he said 93, Kai Ellis, and it was on the outside as Jason Armstead was just breaking around the final corner on that long run.
Well, we talked about the flash of Armstead over the first couple of games in Ottawa. We're seeing it here tonight. If it wasn't for this hold, he'd have his first touchdown in the CFL.
Well, it's right there. I mean, there's Kai Ellis right there, and he's trying to help out with the block. And
oh yeah, he had to grab him.
He had a grab of the jersey. There again, left side. Take a look. There's the grab right there.
So
you know what's funny is he probably didn't even have to do that.
No, didn't need it. So now Joseph, way back in the backfield, look for Ronick. Best to eat the football there too, as Josh Ronick had some yardage if he would have been able to haul that in. Josh Ronick, strong first half, as always.
You know what's interesting, and then there you go, only 16 rushes. They really haven't established him tonight like they have in the first two games, but you know, coming into this game, he had 208 yards, another 16 tonight, 224. It wasn't until after the 8th game last year that he was at 229 yards rushing. He had a great second half of the season, but that shows you how much better their running production is to begin this year.
Joseph out of the backfield is Murphy. There goes Yo. Down the sidelines. Murphy high-stepping, stays in bounds, and another huge pickup by the Ottawa Renegades.
Well, Paupow told me they were going to use some crossing routes tonight. Edmonton loves to come up and jam the receivers, and that lets you just simply try to run away from people. This case, Murphy comes all the way from the inside slot back position and just runs away from A.J. Gass right there and runs away from the defensive backs. And he's not looking for the easy way out of bounds either.
37 yards. Murphy with a couple of big ones tonight. Over 100 yards receiving. Down to the 32-yard line. Joseph looks to his left, then goes over the middle. Bendros in the end zone. Would have had it. Looked like he did get it. And an incomplete pass. Behind two defenders.
And good protection for Kerry Joseph. For the most part tonight, both quarterbacks have had great protection. That's why the numbers are so good. And
should have had that one.
Yeah, he should have had it. Joe Murphy had one in the first half that he might have had too for a touchdown. But Bendros would like to have that one over. But the protection tonight, my goodness, for both quarterbacks has been just first rate.
Joseph rolling left. And again, avoiding a tackle. Ronick brings it close to, and he should have the first down. Making something out of nothing again is Kerry Joseph.
And the impressive thing for Jason Moss and Kerry Joseph both tonight is when they've been in trouble, they have used their backs out of the backfield so wisely, and more often than not, they've been able to pick up first down yardage just by dumping the football off to a Mike Pringle and to a Josh Ranick as they did right there.
They'll have to measure this one. It might be close. They might be an inch shy or so. Let's take a look. And look at that. It is, in fact, just as close as you possibly could get, an inch or two away from the first down. And I don't think Joe Papaw is going to hesitate this time. They're going to go for this. And with that little, just a half an inch. Again, with a defense a yard off the ball, you would think it wouldn't be hard to just dive over the middle for Joseph and pick up the first down yardage, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, it's a big front four Edmonton has. Real tough group.
No problem.
Easy, though. Well, I'm so impressed in the first 3 games of the maturity level of Kerry Joseph from a year ago. You know, last year he threw 20 interceptions and only 19 TDs. You expect that from a young quarterback. 58%, but this year he seems so much more comfortable. And he's making plays, and that's the difference between being 2-0 and 0-2. They're making plays.
Woodcock to the near side of the field, to the left of Joseph. He's going right, though, and over the middle once again. This is Sherrod Gideon, his first catch of the night, but again, that play over the middle for the Renegades, and it's working.
Well, what you want to do is make people chase you when you've got an aggressive secondary, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. When it's an aggressive secondary, you like to put them in chase positions, and here he is right here. And again, he chase. You got to chase a guy, and it's tough. Here he comes. Good read, easy ball to complete. Well, I'll tell you, Kerry Joseph looks awfully comfortable.
2nd and 4, Gideon to Joseph's right. Direct snap. Ronick on the option, takes off and has the first down. Joseph was right with him in case he had to pitch the ball back over to Joseph. Wasn't even thinking about it. And another first down, 1st and goal for the Renegades.
Wow, super look. Watch the left of your screen. There it is right there. On the outside, he beats the tackle of Kelvin Powell, the middle linebacker. And again, they throw another little wrinkle. They've done that previously this year, but it's a tough play to defend. Especially when you go 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. You don't have a lot of help back to the short side of the field, and once Ronick breaks through the first initial wave, he's got lots of room.
Mike Abomeshrik on the field. We'll take a break and come back to Ottawa.
Play Safeway $1 Million Touchdown to win. If your name appears, you've won an iTravel 2000 all-inclusive trip or 2 to Mexico to exciting destinations like Puerto Vallarta, Manzanillo, Ixtapa, or Acapulco. Swipe your club card at Safeway today.
Get in on the game. Who is your MVP? Vote for the Rogers Player of the Game using your Rogers wireless phone. Type the first letter of your player's city and his jersey number, then send to Go CFL. Or vote online at CFL.ca. Either way, you and 3 friends could win an exclusive VIP Grey Cup experience, including backstage access at the Rogers CFL Player Awards. Vote for today's Rogers Player of the Game during TSN's 4th quarter.
TSN HD, redefining the image of sport. TSN HD is proudly presented by JVC. JVC, the HD technology leader. Available at Dumoulin and Audiotronics.
And that's halftime. You know, on a more personal note, I think we'd all like to spend more time with our kids.
He promised he wouldn't.
Sit down over a nice meal together.
He's right.
My favorite place is Wendy's. Junior bacon cheeseburgers, Frosties, big drinks. Each is $1.39, so lunch doesn't cost much, and it's nice after the game.
Are you with Wendy's?
Oh, unofficially.
The $1.39 super value menu at Wendy's. It's better here.
Well, hi, honey. I'm almost done.
And our pickup window is open late.
So the sun retreating here in the nation's capital tonight. The next home game for the Edmonton Eskimos. Those fans out in northern Alberta against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Call the number or log on. Get tickets for that game Saturday, July 17th. First and goal. Roddick, right side, head down. Boy, Singor Mobley with a huge hit. Roddick gets close, but not in.
Pretty athletic play by the offensive line of Ottawa, though. Alexandre Gauthier, the young second-year player from Laval. Watch how he pulls to the outside and gets a good kick-out block for Roddick to cut back in behind. And Mobley with the good initial hit, but see how strong Roddick is? I mean, he gets 2-3 extra yards.
This is Roddick time again, perhaps. Or Joseph time. Gets close, but will not get in. We have no hand signals. And A.J. Gass into it again, and once again it's Roddick. And the cooler heads prevailing at the goal line, so one more crack.
Well, I mean, here I go for it. I mean, I go for it. The crowd wants you to, and I think, you know, if you're going to be a championship kind of team, first place kind of team, I think these are the situations where you have to make a statement. You've got a 4-point lead. You have a chance to really build on it, and I think this is a no-brainer call.
Interesting call here. You have the power back, Mike Maurer, twin eye, Roddick behind him. Joseph keeps, dives, touchdown, Kerry Joseph. Not a problem for Joseph and the Renegades. They open the third quarter by finding the end zone.
Well, he's listed as 6'1", 220. He looks bigger than that to me, and that was pretty easy up over the top for Kerry Joseph. Calls his own number, picks up his second rushing touchdown of the season. That was a nice drive, well put together.
Again, a couple of years ago, he was in Seattle playing strong safety. Now the quarterback, he bench presses over 400 pounds. An amazing athlete. Hard to believe 2 years ago he was playing flag football in Louisiana. Now he's a star in the CFL. 23-12 Renegades.
CFL Fantasy Football. Register free all season long at FSN.ca. Pick from 2 CFL Fantasy Football games, casual or hardcore. With great weekly and monthly prizes, there's more than just bragging rights on the line. You could win a Sony 42-inch Grand Vega TV or the Ultimate Dream Workshop from Porter Cable Delta. Think you know Canadian football? Prove it. Get into the game. Get to FSN.ca and sign up now. Must be legal drinking age, no purchase necessary.
Come on, up, good.
Great. Now we have to set up the tent?
Hey, this is the easy tent by Woods. I can set it up myself in seconds.
Just lay the tent out, then lift the center hub, and everything snaps into place. And push it down to lock.
The rainfly attaches easily, too, and its coating is water resistant.
Hurry, it's gonna come down.
The Woods Easy Tent, available in different sizes from only $99.99. Things just seem to get a little easier when you start at Canadian Tire.
I'll start with you. La 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 la.
Show them the way. Axe Deodorant Body Spray.
I'm sick and tired of it.
Okay, now you're tired of me.
I don't care. Get out.
I've had it. Go see a shrink.
Show them the way. Axe Deodorant Body Spray.
Don't forget, you can vote for your Rogers Player of the Game by logging on your phone, text messaging, Go CFL, or on the internet, CFL.ca. You'd have to punch in number 4, you think, right now. Lots of time left, though. Rogers, your world right now. Can you vote for Coach of the Game?
Well, you can for Pow because he's been calling all the plays and has done a masterful job keeping Edmonton's defense off balance.
They keep the ball away from Winston October, going to Michael Bradley. Bradley's been able to take one back in his career so far. Bradley, good field position, pulls a Winston October, brings it up to the 41. Michael Bradley, by the way, wanted to say hi to a former teammate of his in Waterloo, Jordy Holden, who is getting married on Sunday. He and his fiancee Mona probably watching Mike tonight. He wanted to let them know that he will make the wedding. He will be there in time.
All right.
Bradley did take one back last year. And now Jason Moss, who's had to sit and watch and wait. That was a big drive, opening possession, third quarter. Moss fake inside, goes outside to Hervey. And a flag on the far side of the field.
Well, Kerry Joseph's been the recipient of some.
It's all in the heart. Moms, Kendall, Kevin, everybody back at home.
He's been the recipient of some terrific play calling by his head coach Joe Pow. What a drive to begin the second half. 8 plays, 71 yards, 5.5 minutes. They worked the clock. Pretty impressive. I think now for Edmonton, you look at critical points in a game.
Edmonton number 3, repeat first down.
My, oh my, penalty on Terry Vaughn there, brings it back now 1st and 20. You look at little portions of a game that could be a big factor. I think now you've just been scored upon, you're down by 11, and now you got 1st and 20. You don't want to give it back to a red-hot offense. I think it's really incumbent upon Jason Moss to try to get something going and at least get some momentum back on his side.
Maybe try to connect with the other Jason, who he has not gone to tonight, the ever-dangerous Jason Tucker. Over the middle, Mookie Mitchell with the reception and the first down.
And that's a huge play. I mean, when you're 1st and 20, usually you try to get halfback on first down, halfback on second down. They got the whole 9 yards there on first down. Ottawa playing awfully soft in the secondary. And these receivers of Edmonton have so much experience. There are their numbers tonight. Tucker's still looking for his first catch, but with an experienced group, when you throw zone or man at them, they read it so quickly, and guys like Mookie Mitchell know how to find the holes.
Handoff up the middle to Pringle. On 1st and 10. Picking up a few yards, Mike Pringle. Eskimos have been able to go to the run a little more here tonight. Again, in the first couple of games, they had such a big hole. They had to go pass, pass, pass. And those receivers, that's what they get paid for. Pringle just 28 yards, but 10 carries. Hervey comes out wide right. Moss throwing on second down. Near side of the field, Hervey again. Dave Donaldson there. And they can't bring him down. Tyrese Hebert also there.
Interesting. First time tonight, Ottawa's only gone to a 3-man pass rush. They dropped 9 off for a little extra coverage and really kept the receivers nicely in front of them. Watch how Hervey in front now. They swarm him so quickly with a good initial contact by Donaldson and help from Hebert. Well, that keeps Hervey well short of the first down, and again, a good, different look by Gary Echeverry's defense. Rush 3, drop 9, and be in a great position to come up on the short pass completion to make the play.
This would be a 51-yard field goal, so they decide to punt it away. Fleming will. Armstead is back. Last time he touched the football, took it back, but it was called back because of penalty. This one angled out of bounds.
Oh, what a beauty.
And what a kick.
What a
2-yard line. That's where the Renegades will go to work with a 23-12 lead in the nation's capital.
Hello? Oh, hi. Mr. Wendy here, going door to door to remind people about Wendy's late night pickup window.
Don't you have anything better to do?
Actually, no. Look, how many times have you been forced to eat something you didn't want late at night?
Happens all the time.
Well, from now on, go to Wendy's. They'll make you a really good classic double with cheese fresh instead of something you really didn't want anyway.
You're with Wendy's?
Well, unofficially. So is anyone else home?
Yeah. Say hi to Bruno.
Whoa!
Wendy's pickup window is open late.
Guys will try anything. Once. Go to CoorsLight.ca and find out about this year's Cross-Canada Trauma Tour. A day of big air, great music, and a bunch of guys who may even be crazier than you.
Introducing new 7-Up Citrus Splash.
23-12, the Ottawa Renegades lead the Edmonton Eskimos, who maybe have a good luck charm on their sidelines. Here's Michael Whalen.
Yeah, I'm standing by with Tracy Ham. He played 13 seasons in the CFL. I'd be interested in your assessment of the two quarterbacks tonight.
Well, Joseph is doing a good job both with his arms and his legs, and Moss is having to throw the ball down the field, and Joseph's just more elusive, and he's doing a good job of moving the park around, getting the D-line tired.
What brings Tracy Ham up here on Canada weekend?
Just a holiday. Me and my family is vacationing, and we thought we'd come watch some CFL football.
Okay, well, have a good time.
Thank you. Happy holiday, Canada.
You know what, Rod? It was so funny. I'm on the sidelines, you and I, before the game. This guy starts walking across the field, and I said, I know him.
Oh, yeah.
I said, Tracy, what are you doing here? And you know what? He wanted to come up. One of his sons was born in Edmonton. He wanted to see the Edmonton Eskimos play tonight. And, you know, he misses CFL. He's coaching a Division II college team just outside of Atlanta, where he's from Georgia originally. And there's Kenny Abrera on his other side, a great receiver for Hamilton and Ottawa. Ken Abrera, now a sportscaster here locally in Ottawa. But Tracy's one of the great, great guys and wonderful performance.
Great Eskimo, most outstanding player in '89. Played in Montreal, of course. Knows a lot about Mike Pringle.
That's for sure.
Won the Grey Cup, of course, with the Baltimore Stallions. Second in short yardage for Joseph after the catch made by Pat Woodcock. We were kind of joking with him that his son was born in Edmonton. He's 11. Another son was born while he played in Montreal. But that his 11-year-old, maybe 10 years from now,
he's on the right. That's Tracy the second right there.
Might be a non-import, actually, for a team 10 years down the road. And speaking of that, the ratio, how about the Ottawa Renegades? You know, a chance here tonight to start 13 Canadians, 21 Canadians on the roster.
And I believe technically, the way the roster makeup is, you only have to start technically 7 Canadians. They're starting 13. Pretty incredible.
And the quota being 19 Canadians on the roster with the 21. And so, and you know, another part of the Canadian angle, Joe Pawpaw, whom they've started to rename around here Joe Canadian. He's been around the Canadian Football League forever, is in fact applying for Canadian citizenship and will be a Canadian. So now 2nd and 7 for Pawpaw's Renegades. Joseph, pump fake, going deep, down the sideline. And Woodcock can't catch up with it, and a couple of flags on the play, and that spells interference. And Woodcock points a finger at the Eskimos, and this might go Ottawa's way.
Wow, they're really working over Fabian Burke on the outside, and here's Woodcock out and up, and we'll see if there was contact. Fabian Burke, though, I mean, they have decided that this is the area they want to go. There's the hold right there. Great call. Ottawa's going to get a first down. But Burke has had one of those nights you just kind of want to forget about. Hey, let's document, though, that the 2 starting corners for Edmonton are at home.
Pass interference. Edmonton number 19, first down.
And I don't care what or how good your team is, for Tom Higgins, when you lose Darryl Crutchfield and Malcolm Frank, your starting corners, that is tough. And they're putting Fabian Burke to the wide side of the field all night. He's got a lot of territory to cover, and hey, it's tough. Nash, you know, he's nicked up too. He's not 100%.
First and 10. Ronick going inside and brought down by Singor Mobley.
You know, it's funny. I asked Dan Kepley, the great Hall of Fame linebacker from Edmonton Days, who's coaching their defensive line. I said, Danny, with Ottawa's big offensive line and the good running game, are you worried that your linebackers, your outside guys, Robert Grant and Singor Mobley, are a little undersized to play against them? Because both linebackers are like 200 pounds. But have you seen the hits that Mobley's been up putting on tonight? And Kepley wasn't worried about it. He said, no, my guys will answer the bell. And for the most part, they've really shut down the Ottawa running game.
They ever got the perfect guy to work with the linebackers in Edmonton. One of the greats, Joseph. Time again, throwing, but Woodcock was interfered with again. And again, they'll move the sticks.
Well, this time it was Harold Nash, I believe. It's frustrating for a head coach. I mean, you sit on the, this has been a penalty-filled game again. You had a beauty here last week with Toronto and Ottawa with a lot of flags, but you know, the frustrating thing for a head coach, because I mean, penalties have really hurt Edmonton tonight.
Pass interference, Edmonton number 37, first down.
Harold Nash, the former Shreveport Pirate, Montreal Alouette, and Winnipeg Blue Bomber, signed as a free agent with the Eskimos in the offseason.
Well, you'll see just to the right of your screen, let it roll right here. Well, there's the big grab. Woodcock with the pivot moved back to the outside, and Nash just had to give him a yank.
So Renegades still with the football because of penalties. Murphy on the near side. What a move. And he gets hit hard as he was on the ground, and he's hurt.
Stephen Marsh, the rookie, middle safety for Edmonton, really got a shot at Murphy as he was going down. Now you get a good look at it. Good first down call. Speedy receiver on the wide receiver screen. That's close.
Second and 2. Over 100 yards receiving for Murphy here tonight. Ronick in the backfield again. The option, the pitch. Ronick, easy first down for Josh Ronick. Almost impossible to start, and Mobley again right in Ronick's face.
Well, Mobley made the play, but it's Raheem Abdullah, the defensive end. I mean, he decides once he commits and goes down here, you know the ball's going to be pitched. If he comes out and plays Ronick, Joseph's going to run it. I mean, that's such a quick decision by Kerry Joseph, and it's always the right decision. Abdullah comes down, you pitch.
Hurry up offense again. The Renegades very successful at eating up a lot of the clock here in this third quarter. Only 3 minutes to go in the third. Joseph and fake inside, then off to Murphy. And then Murphy off down the sideline again, and Yo Murphy close to another first down.
And you know, Mobley with another tackle, but you know what, Rod, what I love is going to the hurry up, because you've already had a 5.5-minute drive that you scored on. Edmonton's defense has been on the field entirely the third quarter. Go to hurry up. Do not let these guys get a breather, because trust me, it's a lot easier to play offense when things are going well and defense when they're not.
Things are going very well for Yo Murphy and the Renegades right now. They lead 23-12, 2.5 minutes to go, third quarter. Second and 1. Fake to Ronick. He's got it. Wide open. It's Ben Ross again. Touchdown, Ottawa. They are shredding the Eskimos secondary here now. Ben Ross was all by himself. Second touchdown catch of the night for number 2. Thanks to the strong arm of number 4. And they are loving this team in Ottawa right now.
You know, it's so easy to see from up here. I mean, you saw that play develop instantly, and you're just thinking, does Joseph see him? Does he see him? You know, he was so wide open.
Once again, the Eskimos have to play catch-up. There was no catching Bendros. 30-12.
How do you spend quality time with the family without spending a fortune? With Wendy's $1.39 Super Value Menu. From hot and juicy Junior Bacon cheeseburgers to hot baked potatoes to cool, creamy Frosties. Wendy's, it's better here. And our pickup window is open late.
Newsweek magazine raves Spider-Man 2 outdoes the original by leaps and bounds. Roger Ebert says it's the best superhero movie I've ever seen. Now playing.
Second touchdown of the night for Demetrius Bendros, and what a beauty it was, and it was all the play-action fake by Kerry Joseph, working against a young middle safety. You're going to see, let it roll just a little bit. Initially the fake to Ronick. There it is right there. Stop it, freeze it. There's the middle safety, Stephen Marsh. He was up here trying to play the run. There's Bendros. Look how open he is. The play-action fake did the middle safety in, and man, oh man, Bendros has had a couple of easy touchdown catches tonight, but so well executed. That entire drive, once again, picture perfect.
Kerry Joseph, great job from his O-line, but the way he sells the play. Short kickoff, ball is on the ground, a fumble. It looks like it's Renegade football.
I think it's Armstead.
My, oh my. The roof is falling in here on the Edmonton Eskimos. A pooch kick by Shortino. And Jason Armstead with the recovery. And Fabian Burke could not hang on to the football.
Now that was not an onside kick. They're just trying to put it into an area that's a soft area, really, to eliminate any kind of return from Winston October. And boy, oh boy, they just can't hang on to it right there. And Jason Johnson can't take it. Make that Fabian Burke. Burke's had a night to forget.
And now the Ottawa Renegades in what was a close game at the half. Chance of running it up here. Joseph fakes it again, and look out from behind. Gives it off to Darryl Ray, the Canadian receiver. He looked like he had first down yardage, was brought back, and it looks like they will move the yardsticks again.
Keep in mind now, Edmonton always has gone with a big defensive line and likes to rush four. That defense has been on the field the entire third quarter. These guys are going to get tired, and it's so strategically correct for Ottawa to go to hurry up. Look at the way they're breathing right there. That's Randy Spencer. He's puffing like crazy. But boy, when you have him like this, you just keep sticking it down their throat.
First and 10 from the 33. Handoff inside to Ronick. Runs left side. Head down, feet moving as always. And that human bulldozer with another 9-yard pickup, maybe even close to another first down.
Well, Ottawa, Abu Marchek's going to get called for holding and bring it back. Well, talk about numbers. What a night for Kerry Joseph. Look at those.
Only 4 incomplete passes. Almost 400 yards in passing, 3 touchdowns. We came into this game talking about the dangerous Edmonton receivers and the damage they can do. But it's been Joseph and the Ottawa receivers here tonight in a full complement that have been able to pile the points up.
Well, again, you look at time of possession here in the third quarter. I don't know what the numbers are, but it's got to be, there's a minute to go. So we played 14 minutes. I'll bet you Ottawa's had it at least 12 of the 14 minutes. So that's the best way to keep Edmonton's receivers off the field.
One of the smallest guys on the field, Bendros, with a couple of big catches. Armstead has contributed. Might have had his first CFL touchdown. I'll tell you what, though, based on what we've seen, he's going to bring a couple of back this year and electrify the crowd here in Ottawa. We have an injury on the field. We have a big Renegade lead with a minute to go in the third quarter. We'll be back.
The Honda Michelin Challenge Series. Civic Coupe versus Civic Coupe for the real racing enthusiast.
Here later, Tackle Hunger Day is your day to help your home team's local food bank. Bring your non-perishable food items to this game. Need CFL alumni? Have your picture taken with the Grey Cup. Curator, Tackle Hunger.
Diecast, Stamps, Wendy's CFL Live, Sunday on TSN.
Well, it's Wendy's Friday Night Football, and it's a doubleheader Friday night. The BC Lions, they're 2-0 against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Henry Burris will start tonight for the Riders in Taylor Field. That game coming up when this one ends. Renegades trying to put the hammer down, leading by 18. Armstead. Armstead close to 12 yards on that, so it'll be 2nd down and 8. Final 30 seconds. 100 yards receiving for Armstead, only on 3 catches. The longest, of course, that 83-yarder. So it's the Lions and the Riders coming up right after this ball game. Renegades looking to go 3-0. Ben Ross looking for the first down and more. And on 1st and 20, the Renegades take 2 plays and move the sticks again with 5 seconds to go, 3rd quarter.
Well, I'll tell you who gets a great block here is Jason Armstead, number 88. He's really contributing in a lot of great ways. There's the block. Darrell Ray gets one, but Armstead got one to the inside, and when you get that kind of effort out of everybody, you're going to have success, which they have. This has been an awesome 3rd quarter.
Armstead wide right, Woodcock wide left. 1st and 10, final play of the 3rd. Joseph looking end zone, almost had it picked off. And that is the quarter. A quarter dominated by the men in black. 30-12 on TSN.
At the quarter, brought to you by Reebok, the only brand that hangs in every CFL locker.
Well, Rod, you are bang on. It was dominated by the home team. It was a close game at half. Not so anymore. The Edmonton Eskimos have a lot of work to do. They are in danger of going 0-3 for the first time in almost 40 years.
Almost 40 years, but I thought this game really could have been broken wide open with the return, that first return at the start of the 3rd quarter. And was it a penalty? Yes, it was, because all you have to do is watch the jersey right there on the Eskimo player. That's Kai Ellis, his first game, and he stretched that jersey. The ref sees that. He's going to call that every time. But this is the rule change I like. You see right there, as Fabian Burke does that little grab on Pat Woodcock. If he had not done that, Woodcock may have made that catch. And I like it. It puts an incredible amount of pressure on defensive backs throughout the Canadian Football League, but it's being enforced, and it means points, and it means big plays, Jock. I like big plays.
I think Fabian Burke saved himself a touchdown there. I mean, you got to grab him.
That's how you look at it.
You got to grab him, and it's a good play by him. Glad they called it, though. And,
yes.
You know, for the Renegades, they are surprising the Edmonton Eskimos. I'm sure these guys felt 0-2. They are a desperate football team. They will find a way to win, and maybe they will. But what they're seeing is the emergence of Kerry Joseph. This guy is 20 for 25. I think he has now moved himself into the top echelon of quarterbacks in this league. I know it's early in the season, David, but I really feel that he has truly proven that he's the type of quarterback that can win games all by himself. And folks in Ottawa, you need to get out and see this guy.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, he came in with 2 touchdown passes, has 3 tonight, and one of his very own.
Wouldn't it be nice if banking was simpler? Well, now it is, with the new CIBC Unlimited Checking Account. So it's not complicated. No, it's not complicated. In fact, one flat monthly fee gives you unlimited transactions. With a minimum balance, of course. No minimum.
We're talking about a bank, aren't we?
Yes, we are. CIBC. So anything you do at the bank... What about online? Or online, or on the phone, or at a store, well, it's covered. So it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Well, without the stomachache.
Introducing the new CIBC Unlimited Checking Account. No limits, no surprises.
Canada Day long weekend. The fans in Ottawa, boy, they've been having a blast. Last night, the fireworks in Parliament Hill, the big party, of course, and tonight the party continues. Big lead right now, but we still have 1 quarter to play, and time of possession almost equal, but the Renegades own the 3rd quarter. And a chance to pile on a few more points here to open up quarter number 4. Joseph. Shovel pass to Ryan with room and blocking down to the 2, and that's where he stopped.
Boy, you know you have confidence in your offense when 2nd and 10 and you're down the red zone, you're running the football. I mean, that is something that a lot of teams probably wouldn't do, but this is their bread and butter. They play a game on Abdullah, the defensive end. He can do nothing right on that play. That is not his fault. It's just the way the play is designed, and they execute it so well time after time.
And they will get 3 cracks at Abdullah and the Eskimos from the 3. First and goal for the Renegades, who are threatening now to lock this baby up. Boy, it seems an awful long time ago that the Eskimos had the early lead. The Mike Pringle touchdown. Hand off to Ronald. Inside, will he get there? No. 1-yard line.
Well, I find Edmonton's a very difficult team to run straight at. You're better running away from those big defensive interior linemen, but Ronick tries to get to the outside, but forced in. But straight ahead against Edmonton's front 4, I think, is a difficult thing to do. There's Greg Marshall, their defensive coordinator. What a tough night for him. And, you know, they've got injuries in the secondary. It's not an excuse, but they don't have the team in there right now that they need to have.
Joseph trying to get his way, squirm it, and he does. Another touchdown for Kerry Joseph, but a flag at the goal line. We'll see who it's against.
Offside. Edmonton number 40.
Touchdown it is. His second of the night, both from the goal line. Kerry Joseph and Tom Higgins in disbelief this start to the new season. Boy, what an hombre. Tough player, Kerry Joseph. Second of the night. 37-12. The Renegades lead this game.
Vote now for the Rogers Player of the Game using your Rogers wireless phone. Type the first letter of your player's city and his jersey number. Then send to Go CFL or vote online at CFL.ca.
Play Safeway $1 Million Touchdown to win. You could win Sultan Gourmet Appliances, including a 12-cup electronic coffee maker, Pancake Factory, and Toastess Electric Wok. Swipe your club card at Safeway today.
CFL Fantasy Football. Register free all season long at FSN.ca. Pick from 2 CFL Fantasy Football games, casual or hardcore. With great weekly and monthly prizes, there's more than just bragging rights on the line. You could win a Sony 42-inch Grand Vega TV or the Ultimate Dream Workshop from Porter Cable Delta. Think you know Canadian football? Prove it. Get into the game. Get to FSN.ca and sign up now. Must be legal drinking age, no purchase necessary.
How you doing, Paul? Sticking with aspirin?
For doctor-supervised daily preventative therapy? Every day.
Ow! Tennis, right? Yeah. Given your medical history, even though you're on coated aspirin daily low dose, you can also take aspirin for pain relief.
Really? Both?
Yeah, aspirin relieves pain right at the site.
Thanks.
We'll see you next month.
Ask your doctor if also taking aspirin for pain is right for you.
The fourth quarter is brought to you by Kellogg's Vector. Vector, official food energy of the CFL. Fuel up.
What a night for the Ottawa Renegades. What a start to the season, barring a complete collapse.
God bless everybody, babe. He's the man.
This team is going to start the season 3-0. Ball kicked down to Bradley again. He gets to the 30 and a big hit there. Special teams picking it up for the Ottawa Renegades. But Kerry Joseph, it has been the K-Joe show.
I like the K-Joe. Well, there's just a little sampling, and it got started with a terrific catch by Pat Woodcock, and it just got better and better and better.
And better.
You know, the impressive thing, too, though, Rod, is he's throwing the soft swing pass to the running backs well. He's throwing the deep ball well. He's throwing the frozen rope well. I mean, he has given us the whole package tonight. I mean, I liked him last year when he first came in the league, and gosh, do I like him even better this year because he's mature. He's 31 years old. He's not a kid that's going to get too high or too low. And they've got a winner here.
They've got terrific balance. They will throw that at you. They will run the football to precipitate the pass. The passing's been awesome for it. They've got a lot of weapons. Jason Moss and the Eskimos have got to get a score here.
You know what they have too, Rod, is they have a lot of confidence, and that's the huge intangible so many times in pro sports is they have that confidence that they are going to make plays and, you know, they're going to win games. You know, you could see it building last year, and it's carried over.
Kelly Wilshire and Gerald Vaughn look like they hit helmets. It has carried over in a big way with Kerry Joseph. Eskimos need to find Pater. They did make a great comeback last week against BC and want to do the same here tonight. Daryl Mitchell. And so now the Eskimos will hurry up their offense.
Yeah, and I think that's a good idea. They need to try to get back at 37-12. Stranger things have happened, but, you know, we were just saying off camera that at the last commercial break, Jason Moss hasn't played badly tonight, and he's down by 25 points.
A lot of turning points in this game, but maybe none more so than that fumble recovery at the goal line before halftime. Pringle brought down. Serge Séjour wrapping up the legend Mike Pringle.
Well, that really was a huge play at the end of the second quarter when they stopped Edmonton on the goal line with a fumble. And here's Séjour in the middle. He's going to make the play. But they stopped Edmonton, and then they scored themselves to take the lead, and boy, what a turning point that was.
Out pattern there to Brock Ralph, who couldn't make the catch. Native of Raymond, Alberta, played in Wyoming. Guy who was a terrific athlete in his high school days growing up in Alberta. Was a provincial track star. And
you know, you have to feel sorry somewhat for Tom Higgins, and maybe not a lot of people will because they just won a Grey Cup a year ago. But when you look at this team tonight from what it was at the Grey Cup last year with Ricky Ray gone and offensive lineman retiring, 2 corners injured, I mean, this is not the same team from a year ago, and I'm not surprised that they're having some difficulty.
Fleming, who missed a couple of field goals in the first half, doesn't miss here. Long mountain to climb, though. Big one for Higgins and the Eskimos now.
Welcome to the Sports Center Newsroom, everybody. I'm Blake Price. Hope you're enjoying the football game. Sports Center coming your way at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific time. So much to talk to you about, including the Blue Jays and Expos in Puerto Rico, of course. What other Canada Day classic than the Puerto Rico matchup of the Spos and Jays. David Bush making his major league debut, looking good against Brad Wilkerson there. He had a 2-hitter into the 6th, still in the 6th. Bush with 2 runners on. Carlos Tosca making a move. Justin Spire comes in. Tony Batista promptly singles to right, cashes in one. Expos lead 1-0 in the 8th. Yankees and Mets, 2-0 Mets. 2 men on for Kaz Matsui. Takes Mike Mussina deep over the wall. His 6th, 5-0 Mets in the 5th. And according to a report in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, District Attorney's Office has told the Snyder family that it will seek an indictment against Danny Heatley. Details coming up on Sports Center. Stay tuned for the 4th.
Got you a strawberry tart.
Oh, I love these. Didn't you get one?
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of.
Mine had chocolate.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
That was an option?
I'll be back.
Who can resist? Fresh strawberries topped with decadent chocolate and a rich chocolatey mousse. Try Tim Hortons Irresistible Original or the new Strawberry Chocolate Tart.
Your strawberry chocolate tart.
Always fresh at Tim Hortons.
There's Clinton Wayne, and there is Jerome Haywood. 2 weeks in a row, CFL Lineman of the Week. A couple of sacks here tonight. Tied for the league lead with sacks, 3 in the season. Ottawa leading with 8. When a quarterback is sacked, Purolator will donate his weight in food, the quarterbacks that is, to a local food bank. Purolator, Canada's biggest courier company last year, 90 tons of food donated. That's a lot of quarterbacks that were sacked. Joseph to Yo Murphy in the flat. Yo Murphy down the sideline. Another first down for the Renegades. Edmonton Eskimos have been absolutely sapped of any momentum here in this second half.
Well, super move by Yo Murphy right here, and Maha Togwe just could not. He's in a corner now, replacing Fabian Burke.
Another first down. Direct snap again. Even with a big lead, they still show some tricks, the Renegades do.
Well, the leading tackler on the Edmonton Eskimos coming into this game was Singhor Mobley, and I'll tell you, if there's been one player tonight that's excelled for his team, it's been Mobley. It seems like every running play he's been in on, and again, another good effort by him. I know his team's losing, and the defense has been beaten up a little bit tonight, but it sure hasn't been his fault. He's a little undersized, but boy, he's got a huge heart, and he plays the run tough for a 200-pounder.
2nd and 8 for Joseph and the Renegades. And Ronick couldn't hang on, and so now for one of the few times in this second half, Leif Pedersen, in fact the first time, Renegades will have to kick it away.
Well, they had 2 long drives in the third quarter that both resulted in touchdowns, and now we're 9 minutes left in the first punt of the half.
So Pat Fleming will come out. Winston October is back. October almost broke one earlier in the game too. And they give it right to him, then we'll let him run it. Can they contain him? Yes, they can. 37-15 is the score. You're watching Wendy's Friday Night Football from Ottawa.
Good job.
Guys will try anything. Once. Go to CoorsLight.ca and find out about this year's Cross Canada Trauma Tour. A day of big air, great music, and a bunch of guys who may even be crazier than you.
Hi, Jason.
Can Jimmy play?
Jimmy! See you, Yo.
Where going? Hey, Jimmy! Can you play?
Vince Carter! Dinner! Jason! Lisa Leslie!
Jimmy, can you play?
Who's out there?
The GMC Sierra with Duramax diesel and Allison transmission. Legendary torque. Introducing the GMC Canyon with an inline 5 that has more power than any V6 in its class. It's the midsize that thinks bigger.
Jason Moss. Boy, the Eskimos need to play comeback in a big way. A couple of years ago, he was the starter, and then he became the guy who manned the clipboard and watched a lot of Ricky Ray.
It was, in a sense, that I learned a little bit more about our offense. I learned a little bit more about defenses in the league, but it's all theory, no practice. So, I mean, there's nothing that substitutes for playing. No matter how much you try to learn or how much mental reps you get, there's nothing like actually playing. So I've learned more now in the last 2 games, I think, than I've learned in the last 2 years watching.
Remember a couple of years ago, there was a bit of a controversy in Edmonton. Moss was the starting guy. Tom Higgins said he wanted to go with a 2-quarterback system, and then he went to a 1-quarterback system with Ray. And now Moss is starting again. And a lot of heat on this guy in Edmonton to turn this around, turn this game around.
And, you know, they're getting hammered pretty good here tonight. But, you know, last week, even in a loss, 497 yards passing. Tonight, so far, he's 22 of 27 for 285 yards. And, you know, that's a pretty good night. Not probably the yardage he wants, but you know, he's going to get better. He's not the reason Edmonton is not winning. I can tell you that for sure. And that's his offensive coordinator, Danny Machocha, right there. And offense is not why they're losing football games right now. They've had a couple of silly penalties tonight that have hurt, but the offense really hasn't been back.
Ralph, who's made a couple of catches on 2nd and 7, will be short of another first down, it looks like.
You know, both teams have done that a little bit tonight, and you know, as a former receiver, that drives me crazy. When you've got 2nd and 7 and you go 6, that's not right. And Brock Ralph's going to learn, if he gets to play in this league for a long time, that you've got to go necessary yardage, and I'm sure that's what they're saying to him on the sidelines right now.
So it will be 3rd down and 1 yard.
Well, they got to go for it. That's not a big deal, but you know, your maturity level has to come in a hurry. When you're asked to pick up a first down in a game like this, when you're desperately trying to get into it, you cannot come up a yard short.
Don't forget, no, that's more than a yard. That's the longest yard, a yard and a half. Don't forget, coming up after this ball game, take you out to Taylor Field in Regina. John Wells and Glenn Suter standing by. Riders minus Nealon Green, of course, and the BC Lions 1-1, coming off a win over the Edmonton Eskimos a week ago. Here we are in the nation's capital, and this is it for the Eskimos. 3rd and 1. They have to stay alive here. Moss goes ahead. Looks like he got it.
Plenty to spare. Good surge by his center, Tim Princeton, and the left guard, Dan Comiskey. Excellent surge right there. But I think, you know, at 7:03, the clock's moving. They got to get up, get on the ball, get in the hurry up. I mean, goodness, they trail by 22 points. They need to get on the ball.
They need to find this guy.
Yeah,
look at that.
That's
zeros, zeros, zeros beside their threat, main threat, the guy who was the MVP in the Grey Cup, Jason Tucker. They've done a nice job, obviously, on Tucker tonight. Moss looking for Tucker and knocked away. Gerald Vaughn in front of him. Anthony Malbrough has been on Tucker for the most part here tonight.
Well, pretty good timing by Jason Moss. Just as he clears Gerald Vaughn, the linebacker, the ball was pretty well thrown, but did you see Vaughn put his arm up and distract Tucker just enough?
Holding, Edmonton number 61. Repeat first down.
Boy, it just keeps getting worse for the Eskimos. Glenn Carson, replacement you talked about, you know, the fill-ins. Bruce Beaton, of course, one of the mainstays on their offensive line, retiring. What a way to go out, though. Go out with a Grey Cup. They've got a lot of work to do. It appears they're going to go and have a tough start. You might as well do it right now and not later. And there's Ralph again. Remember last year, the Eskimos didn't look like Grey Cup champions 6 games in. They were 3-3 before this game, and then they reeled off 9 of 10 wins. So all of these teams we talk about struggling early in the year, and contrary, you know, on the other side too, the Ottawa Renegades, things happen fast in the CFL. As fast as you can go 3-0, you can be 3-3.
Oh, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think, you know, this is still a good football team. They've got some awful, decimating injuries on defense that are hurting them right now. But will they be better? I'm convinced of it.
The Eskimo receivers dropped a couple of balls, and Ed Hervey drops, and so 2nd down in long yardage becomes 3rd in long yardage, and this time they have to kick the ball away. With 5:35 to go, and it looks like this domination the Eskimos have had in Ontario. The Eskimos' last loss in the province of Ontario, 1999 in Toronto. The last time they lost in Ottawa, 1995, against the Rough Riders. Sean Fleming. Big kick. Armstead. Goes up the middle. Armstead, oh boy. Shoelace tackle otherwise. He was history. Big lead for the Renegades.
The smash hit driving franchise that started it all is back. Full Throttle. Driver 3. Available now. Rated M for mature.
TSN HD, redefining the image of sport. TSN HD is proudly presented by JVC. JVC, the HD technology leader, available at Sears.
5 minutes to go for the Ottawa Renegades to go 3-0. Fake to Ronick. Eskimos didn't bite, but bad job of tackling there. They had Ronick caught in the backfield. Well, football, European style. Oh, I love that music. Listen to that. Oh, yeah. Portugal and Greece. How about that? Who would have thought? Just when you think that you know everything in sports, you can predict anything. How about that? 2:30 Eastern, the final of Euro 2004. You know, I'm going to make a prediction on that game, though. I bet you it goes into penalties, into kicks. Both of those teams have been miracle teams there.
It's going to be fun.
It will be.
And I'm not a real soccer guy, but that I will watch.
Another direct snap to Ronick. It's amazing how many soccer fans have come out of the woodwork here in the last little while. People who've never watched soccer, particularly if you're Portuguese or Greek right now, wearing your country's colors proudly.
Yeah, College Street in Toronto and the Danforth in Toronto, where I'm from. It's going to be pretty patriotic in those areas.
Inside 4 minutes. 1972. The last time an Ottawa team went 3-0. 1965. The last time an Eskimo team went 0-3. Who would have thought? So, Leif Pettersson, where were you in '72? I thought, well, you were celebrating your 5th birthday.
I was at Otterbein College in Columbus, Ohio, getting a great education.
Here's what happened in '72. French Connection and Gene Hackman. MASH began its first season. The Bruins won the Cup. Miami Dolphins had a perfect season. Prime Minister down the block was Pierre Trudeau. The U.S. President was Richard Nixon, and only 5 Renegades were born at that time. How about that?
That's pretty good.
2nd and 2. Joseph to Yoel Murphy. And the 3-minute warning. 3 minutes to a perfect start for the Ottawa Renegades.
Vote now for the Rogers Player of the Game using your Rogers wireless phone. Type the first letter of your player's city and his jersey number. Then send to Go CFL or vote online at cfl.ca.
Nothing says summer like Tim Hortons Ice Cap. Totally creamy, totally cool. Try it with 2% or chocolate milk. Just $1.79.
After 12 years, it's back. The Honda Michelin Challenge Series. Civic Coupe versus Civic Coupe. For the real racing enthusiasts.
Speed Stick 24/7 gives you proven non-stop protection. With time-release sweat and odor fighters, Speed Stick's always there when you need it the most. Speed Stick 24/7, it never quits.
Tonight's game story brought to you by Sport Check, proud supporter of the CFL.
Well, look at that. Kerry Joseph, what a terrific night for him, a 400-yard night. Jason Moss, you know, he's been pretty darn good himself. Yoel Murphy, big plays, Jason Armstead, and that's the key. You know, Joe Paopao said there's 3 reasons why we're winning. We're able to defend the lead better than we did a year ago. We have timely plays, which they've had tonight, and we're more consistent, which they have really been tonight.
Certainly in the second half. Oh, my goodness. Mike Mauer with the power down the sidelines on the shovel again. And forget about it.
And it's such...
The Renegades are going to make it 3-0.
You know, and people say, well, why can't you defend this play? It is so tough to defend because look at 92, Kelvin Kinney, the end. He cannot do anything right. They get good seal blocks to the inside. That's the key. And now Mike Maurer just does the rest with some power running. But they have that play down to a science. It's the base of their whole running game, and they work it perfectly.
1st and 10 from the 28. Ronick in the backfield again. Takes the pitch again. Ronick again. Up the middle. Ronick, another first down.
Down here, he's getting, you know, he's like a Mike Pringle. Pringle, historically tough in the 4th quarter. Josh Ronick is the same way. He seems to get stronger as the game goes on. And, you know, you talk about defending a lead. Well, they're eating a lot of clock right here with the running game. And you notice that they've done it mostly to the outside against Edmonton, and that's good strategy. They're tough up the middle, but outside, and you get the cutbacks off that. And there are the numbers for Ronick. Not normal, but still a pretty productive night.
South Dakota State Jackrabbit. Joseph. Oh,
he's going to walk out.
Touchdown, Joseph. The Renegades have steamrolled the Eskimos here in the second half. 3rd rushing touchdown of the night for Kerry Joseph. This time he had to run it in, though. The last 2 times he just had to leap over the goal line.
Watch Raheem Abdul here on the fake up here. Boom! And then it's just clear sailing to the outside. Watch this right here. Look at that. Fake. And right now he can do whatever he wants. If the corner comes up, if the corner comes up, then he throws. Corner stays back, he just runs it in. Harold Nash, there's nothing he can do either.
Good night. The party's over for the Eskimos, and it continues for the Renegades.
Finding cool gadgets is always fun. And now it can be your chance to win with the Radio Shack Gadget Quest contest. A 32-inch pure flat television with a 5 DVD changer home theater system and a digital camcorder, a digital camera, or an MP3 player. Click tsn.ca/contest and enter for a chance to win. Then look around for more gadgets. The more you find, the more chances you have to win. Your chance to win is just around the corner.
Kerry Joseph, double hat trick. Man with the hat on. 3 throwing touchdowns, 3 running touchdowns. The Renegades have outscored the Eskimos 28-3, and there's a happy Eric Tillman.
Well, when you have a solid running game that everybody has to respect, you can do these kind of plays and you can execute them so well. I wouldn't want to be a defensive end playing against this offense because it's a very difficult offense to try to defend against from the outside on the edge.
There's your Rogers player of the game, you would have to think. Another kick that's nowhere near Winston October, and the Edmonton Eskimos have been KO'd in the second half. 28-3. The Renegades have outscored them here in the second half. This was a close football game at halftime, and I harken back again to that Winston October return. Ramon Adams catching him at the 3-yard line, and then Pringle, the fumble in that first half. The Eskimos would have gone in to the locker room with the lead, and they didn't.
I couldn't agree with you more, and, you know, keep in mind, last week, Toronto did not score a touchdown against Ottawa. This team, it all starts with defense. Tonight, only 1 touchdown on the board for Edmonton, so 1 touchdown given up in 2 games. That's not too bad.
Brock Ralph taking the pass from Bart Hendricks into the ball game from Boise State. Jason Moss is out. And who would have thought the defending Grey Cup champions would be manhandled like this?
Well, a couple of sacks for Roger Dubrack, and here's the play that we think was the turning point of the game.
We did the same thing 2 weeks ago. We got to watch film.
Second and short. Good tackle there. So we're back to live action there, but Gary Echeverry's defense quietly has done a great job in the first 3 weeks of this season. In fact, coming in tonight, they were only giving up 17.5 points a game, and tonight only 15, so they're going to bring that down a touch.
Gerald Vaughn, really the anchor of this defense. He and Kelly Wilshire. And those 4 guys up front Fleiser, Dunbrack, Haywood, Cromartie, Kai Ellis coming in. Clinton Lane, John Turntime. This is a very good football team in Ottawa. They've shown it so far. And again, it's just a start, but those Eskimos, 0-3, almost 40 years. So I asked you, where were you in 72? Where were you in 65 when the best movie was My Fair Lady? The song of the year was Hello, Dolly. There was no Super Bowl winner. There wasn't a Super Bowl. Lester Pearson was the prime minister. Lyndon Johnson was the president. And there were no Eskimos born at that time. So no one could really remember an 0-3 start. But I'll tell you what,
hear about it now.
They know about it now in Edmonton.
They're going to unfortunately hear about it.
Hendricks picked off. Hebert had end zone in his mind. Interception, and it's going from bad to worse to ugly for the Eskimos. And 22,000 plus on their feet here in Ottawa. What a second half by the Renegades.
Well, he would have had a touchdown if he'd been able to stay upright there, but nevertheless, terrific night for this Ottawa defense. They had some challenges tonight. Donnie Ruiz, their starting corner, went out. They had to replace him. Tony White, middle linebacker, he's been nicked up all night. There he is on the sidelines. So they made some adjustments, but they really didn't give up a whole lot. Sign of a good team. They've got depth, and they've got terrific team speed.
Minute to go. 3 turnovers, not helping tonight. Ronick continues to pile on the yardage.
Well, dying moments there in Ottawa, and we have to let you know that that is only game 1 of our doubleheader. They're set to kick things off between the Riders and the Lions coming up in game 2, which is coming up at the top of the clock.
All right, guys, getting ready for the Riders and Lions. And the last time the Renegades were 3-0, they were known as the Rough Riders, the Ottawa Rough Riders. Ronick, again, to put some perspective in that start in 1972 when they were the Rough Riders. Paul Henderson still hadn't scored the goal when they had a 3-0 start in 72. They did not win the Grey Cup that year. But the next year, get this one, they started 0-4 in Ottawa. And they went on to win the Grey Cup, beating Edmonton in the Grey Cup final. So again, it's early in the season. You want to get off to a great start like the Renegades have. The Eskimos would love to avoid this, but as Tom Higgins says, one day you're sipping wine, the next day you're picking grapes. Coach of the year, Grey Cup champions, have not looked like Grey Cup champions so far.
But again, you said it earlier too, Rod. I mean, this could change around in a hurry for Edmonton. They could reel out 3 straight, get to 500, and all is forgiven. But for Ottawa, hey, you got to give credit where credit's due. Enjoy the moment. They will have adversity this year. When they do, we'll see how they face it. But for now, they're the toast of the town and complete surprise of the 2004 season so far.
First place in the CFL East. First win over Edmonton since 1995. First time 3-0 since 72. How about these Ottawa Renegades? All over the Eskimos. 44-15. What a night for Kerry Joseph.
Hello? Oh, hi. Mr. Wendy here, going door to door to remind people about Wendy's late night pickup window. Don't you have anything better to do? Actually, no. Look, how many times have you been forced to eat something you didn't want late at night? Happens all the time. Well, from now on, go to Wendy's. They'll make you a really good classic double with cheese fresh instead of something you really didn't want anyway. You're with Wendy's? Well, unofficially. So is anyone else home? Yeah. Say hi to Bruno. Whoa!
Wendy's pickup window is open late.
TSN is proud to present complete coverage of the 2004 Teleskins game presented by Ericsson, featuring 4 of the biggest names in golf. Vijay Singh, defending champion, 4-time winner on the PGA Tour. Phil Mickelson, reigning Masters champion, #1 on the 2004 PGA Tour money list. John Daly, the people's favorite, #2 in PGA Tour driving list. Hank Keeney, already the PGA Tour driving champion. The 2004 Teleskins game, presented by Ericsson. Monday and Tuesday on TSN.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Wendy's, it's better here. By Molson Canadian, I am Canadian. By Rona, the how-to people. And by Rogers, your world right now.
And welcome back to the CFL Live studios on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Dave Randolph, Chris Schultz, and Jock Climbey. And what a show put on by the 3-0 Ottawa Renegades. Congratulations to Joe Powell, Eric Tillman, and all the players for a perfect start. And they look great doing it, didn't they,
Sure
Schultz?
did. And I thought the hidden numbers or the hidden real value in looking at these two teams by comparative is on defense. Edmonton has now given up 118 points in 3 games. On defense, Ottawa's only allowed 50 points, and they had some great red zone plays. There were moments in this game where Edmonton could have made some, field goals and touchdowns, but weren't able to do it because the closer it got to the goal line, the better that defense for the Renegades played, Dave.
Well, it was a close game at the half. It was a 4-point game, but Ottawa just took off in the third quarter. You played in Ottawa way back.
Too many years.
Yeah,
Too many years.
You live in the Ottawa area. So seriously, give us a perspective as to what it means to have a successful winning football team again in the nation's capital.
Well, for the true Ottawa fans, this is something really special. And there are few cities that could say they are long-suffering CFL fans. I'm sure Regina would count themselves amongst that group, and Winnipeg would. Ottawa certainly does. And this is the first time this city really has something to cheer about with this football team. It's not like they've gotten up to a fluky start. This team is legitimate. This team is going to win a lot of football games this year. This team has a good chance of being over 500, David. It's very exciting for those Ottawa fans. Get out there and support them. That's great fun.
Well, they handled the Grey Cup champions with ease tonight. Next week, they have Montreal, so another test to see if everybody says they're for real. We'll see. The player of the game, brought to you by Rogers, as voted by you, the fans. It was an easy call tonight. 78% of the vote going to the guy who threw for 3 touchdowns, rushed for 3 touchdowns, and had his way with the Eskimos tonight. Kerry Joseph.
To win at this game, you have to challenge more than just your opponent. You have to beat everything the course has to throw at you. TSN takes you to the links of the Royal Troon Golf Club for the 133rd British Open Golf Championship. Follow the action all the way to the final putt and watch SportsCenter daily for all the news, insight, and analysis. The British Open. TSN, July 15th to 18th. Bell Expressview, Canada's leading direct-to-home satellite company. TSN, Canada's sports leader. The people who brought you Canada's most popular sports website, tsn.ca, now take you to the next level. Get all the latest scores, standings, and news from around the sports world right on your TV. TSN Extra, interactive sports television. Access channel 275 on Bell Expressview.